All right. Okay, students, welcome to this RT99 session. And today we are going to discuss the CAT VARC 2023 Slot 3 paper. Right, so I hope that my voice is clear to all of you. I am audible. The screen is visible. So let us start. So I took the RT99 Headstart the first session, and I discussed about the strategy of how you can attempt the VARC section. So basically, I will be continuing from that. We will not be discussing a lot of strategy out here, what were the marks and all those things. We will keep it short. The main focus will be on solving the questions, different types of questions. Okay. So let me start. So this is the exam pattern that you all must be well versed with by this time. So 24 questions on VARC, 40 minutes time. So maximum you can get 72 marks. If you look at the CAT 25 pattern and the sectional cutoffs or the sectional percentile marks map, then we are saying that for VARC, a score of 47 would have got you 99.5 percentile. Okay, so net 16 questions basically you have to get right. For 99 percentile, it was 43 marks. Usually, they say that if you score 85 percentile, you are safe for almost cutoff wise, you are safe for all the IMs. So, a score of 23 means net 8 correct. Right? But the problem is, unlike DILR and Quant, you can never be sure about your accuracy in VARC. I mean, very few people can be, at least I cannot be. I'm never sure of. I know that chances are more that I'm marking the right answer, but even if it goes wrong, I can't, I mean, it's not very clear. It's vague. Okay. So to get, say, a 95 percentile or a 90 percentile, so let me pick 95 percentile. So you have to get around 32 to 35 marks, right? So it is not possible that you attempt 12 questions and you will get 35 marks, 12 frees. It's not going to happen. Quant, it can happen. 100% accuracy is possible. But in VARC, it is, according to me, next to impossible. So you need to attempt more, right? So to get 13 questions net right, what what you need to do perhaps is attempt 20 questions. Out of 20 you may get 15 right and 5 wrong, so that could get you around 40 marks. That definitely would be around 97 98 percentile. So the purpose is, I don't know what would be the level of CAT this year. The purpose is not that. So the purpose is simple, that in VRC we carry that mindset that I will only attempt 18 questions, I will only attempt 16 questions. How do you know? I mean, the accuracy wise, you can never be sure. So the idea should be to look at all the questions without going with the preconceived mindset that I will only attempt 3 passages or 2 passages and 6 questions of verbal ability, because without looking at the questions you cannot judge them. Without going through few lines of RC and without looking at the questions, you cannot judge which one is easy, which one is difficult. So let us not fall into this trap of attempting maybe 2 passages or 3 passages and solving few questions of verbal ability. That's not going to help you if you are aiming for high percentile in VARC. So yeah, this is let us look at CAT 23, the paper which we will be solving. Looks like that it was slightly difficult as compared to 2025, because the cutoff or the 99.5 was around 44 marks, maybe one question more difficult. Yeah, that's what it looks like. One question more difficult than CAT 25. Okay. So if you look at the what kind of questions come in the exam, so this is fixed. Reading comprehension, 16 questions. I mean, if you look at the entire CAT paper, which has 66 questions, roughly 25% of the entire paper is reading comprehension. And if somebody does not focus on this, then I truly think that it would be very difficult to get top IIMs or top B schools. So this is by far the weightage wise one single most important area. Of course, you can't define RC in chapters. For maths, for example, you can say that arithmetic 7-8 questions come, and then you can define arithmetic mein kya kya padhna hai. But in reading comprehension, you cannot do that. That's another issue, and that's why most of these students feel that or leave it or ignore it, because there is no defined thing in reading comprehension. What should you do? I will suggest read a few articles every day, solve passages. That is what is required. And if you do that, I think even your verbal part will be taken care of. So if you see, 2023 was one paper wherein all the various type of questions appeared, two para jumbles, two para summary, two odd ones, two para completion. So all these type of questions came in the exam. Now, this is once again, we have already discussed that what was VRC percentile like. Now this is the actual map of the questions. So what does that mean is, this is attempt versus accuracy basically, right? So the bar graph, the gray, sorry, the gray area which you see is the attempt. So for example, question number 1 would have been attempted by say around 50% of the people, and around 70 to 73% of the people got it right. Okay, something of that sort. So in green means question was easy, in red means question was difficult, and the yellow ones are moderate, right? So anything which has less than 40% accuracy, we say that it was a difficult question. Remember, it is not according to the attempts. It is always about the accuracy, which helps us to define whether question was easy, moderate, or difficult. Okay, so the if you look at this part, a lot of students, I think, attempted the verbal part, the question number 17 to 24. The attempts looks very high, although accuracy is varying as per the question, of course. So what we are going to do today is, of course, it is impossible for me to discuss the entire 24 questions in an hour's time. I wanted to make it meaningful. I have picked up the second passage, which out of the 4 passage, the second passage I have picked up, question number 5, 6, 7, 8, which looks like perhaps the most difficult one. If I look at, there is 1 red and 2 yellows here. So this is the passage that I have picked. I have also picked a couple of para completion question, 1 para summary question, so various type of questions and how you could have attempted these questions. So let us move ahead. Now this is very, very important. The beast mode. This is elimination. So elimination is an important skill in VARC, right? So what kind of options have traps and what kind of options cannot be the answer? So B stands for broad options, options that are too general or not specific enough to answer the question. Either they are talking in too generic sense or becoming too narrow. Extreme options, options that use language that is absolute, such as always or never, which is unlikely to be true. So this won't be the answer. Alien options are the options that talk about something that is not discussed in the passage, right? So maybe the subject would be the same, but the idea related to that subject is not discussed in the passage. Sidetrack options are options that include information that is true but not directly related to the question or intended answer. So sidetrack means, yes, it is given in the passage, but that is not what question is asking me. Question is asking me something else, right? And that's why do not mark such options. And tone mismatch, options that are inconsistent with author's intended tone or attitude. I am sure that if you have attempted the previous RT99 sessions, then you would be familiar with this mode, but I will definitely want you people to make note of it and start using it in when you attempt the reading comprehension passages, para summary questions. I think the best way to build your elimination skill is to apply it on para summary questions first, and then of course reading comprehension passage. Para summary question, why? Because they are small, you can quickly take out what is the gist that passage is trying to convey, and then try to eliminate the option. Solve 30-40 questions of para summary, focusing exclusively on elimination strategy, and I'm sure that you will see the difference in reading comprehension passages also. Okay, now let us start the actual game. So this is the passage number 2 I have picked, which most of the students found difficult. So what I will do is, the way I will do it is I will give you the main sentence of each paragraph, and that is what you should aim for. Each paragraph might have one idea which it is trying to convey, and all other lines in that particular paragraph would be written to justify that main sentence. Can you identify that main sentence from each paragraph? And of course, if you can identify it from the main entire passage, that's the skill. That is the skill that you need to focus on, right? So main sentence is the sentence which carries author's idea about the subject. Or if there is no idea or judgment that author is giving, then what is the purpose? The purpose sentence, why this particular paragraph is written, why this particular passage has been written. That is something that you should focus more on when you are reading any text, even editorials, even Aeon essays, whatever you are reading. When you are reading, always focus on whether a particular sentence is a main sentence, or whether it is a supporting sentence to the main sentence, or whether it is simply an example. So basically, structure of the argument. Try to identify that. That is something that you need to focus on to if you want to improve your reading skill. For those who read a lot and who have been reading a lot, they automatically know it. They don't have to. I don't have to give them a formula. And if you continue reading for 3 to 4 months, automatically your skill will also build up. Okay. So what is the paragraph about? Let us see. Let me first focus on the first paragraph. Steven Pinker's new book, Rationality, What It Is, Why It Seems Scarce, Why It Matters, offers a pragmatic dose of measured optimism, presenting rationality as a fragile but achievable ideal in personal and civic life. Pinker's ambition to illuminate such a crucial topic offers the welcome prospect of return to sanity. It is no small achievement to make formal logic, game theory, statistic, Bayesian reasoning delightful topics full of charm and relevance. Okay. Now, if you read the first paragraph, let me tell you what could be the obstacle. What I mean by obstacle is what are the things that you won't like. So one thing is this name. This name itself looks very daunting to me. Steven Pinker's new book, Rationality, What It Is, Why It Seems. Does it even matter? It's name of a book. Forget about it. So what you should actually focus on, author is talking about a book. Author is positive about it. Look at the adjectives. Pragmatic dose of measured optimism. Pinker's ambition to eliminate such a crucial topic offers the welcome prospect. Again, positive. So, author is positive about it. And that is what you need to note. Now, this is the most important line, according to me, the main sentence of the first paragraph. Steven Pinker's new book, Rationality, What It Is, Why It Seems, offers a pragmatic dose of measured optimism. Author is positive about Pinker's book on rationality. That is the only takeaway that you need to remember, right? Of course, there could be few questions which are very specific in nature, but you can always come back, and you should come back. You should not hesitate to come back. I mean, those tips and tricks where people say that you don't have to come back to the passage, it's a waste of time. Come on, it's very difficult for this level of passage, and just in 2 minutes time of reading that you will be able to remember each and every specifics. They play around the word in the options, so you have to come back and don't worry about that. Okay, now this is the was the first paragraph. Okay, let me look at the second paragraph. This is the second paragraph. It is also plausible to believe that wider application of the rational tool he analyzes would improve the world in important ways. His primer on statistics and scientific uncertainty is particularly timely and should be required reading before consuming any news about the COVID pandemic. More broadly, he argues that less media coverage of the shocking but vanishingly rare events, from shark attacks to adverse vaccine reaction, would help prevent dangerous overreaction, fatalism, and the diversion of finite resources away from solvable but less dramatic issues. So what he is trying to say is why this book is important. He is saying that it is also plausible to believe that a wider application of rational tool he analyzes would improve the world in important ways. This is the important line. The second paragraph talks about that this book presents tools that could improve the world in important ways. And the remaining lines are written to explain what important ways. Author says that if you focus on the rationality, you will focus less on sensational news, which happens rarely, but it gives feeling of sensation, right? So you will react, you will perhaps not overreact, will not believe in fatalism, and those resources, the energy could be spent on the issues that are solvable and more important. But these things are explanations of his first line. The first line is the important line. Can you identify that? His ways can improve the world in better ways. Focus can return to important issues. That is what he wants to convey. Now, in a passage, you also need to focus on one more thing. Author has started in the positive manner, but is he maintaining the positive attitude throughout the passage? If not, then note then how the change is happening and from where the change is happening. So let us look at the third paragraph. It is a reasonable critique. It is a reasonable analysis. And Pinker is not the first one to make it. But analyzing, so but word has came here, but analyzing. So he is positive about it. But then he is using but. That automatically means that there is a shift. There is a shift. But analyzing the political economy of journalism, two things between hyphens are of no use to me. I simply skip them, but analyze the political economy of journalism would have given a fuller picture of why so much coverage is so misguided and what we might do about it. So last paragraph talks about the coverage that is there in the media. Here, the author is saying that it is good that he has pointed it out, but what would have given us fuller picture is why there is so much misguided. So author is now shifting. He bola, अच्छा है, but there is some gap also, right? Then he talks about what is the focus of Pinker in this book. Pinker's main focus is the sort of conscious sequential reasoning that can track the steps in a geometric proof or an argument in formal logic. I have not understood meaning of this, but I have understood कि यहाँ पर तो उसको negative बोला, थोड़ा गाली मारा, बोला his main focus is sort of conscious sequential reasoning, whatever. Then he again talks about skill in this domain maps directly into the navigation of many real world problems. And Pinker shows how great mastery of the tools of rationality can improve decision making. Once again, from negative to positive. Another shift, right? Note these shifts because these shifts are the one from where questions can come. So direction shifts slightly from positive to negative. Some gaps pointed out. And the paragraph also talks about that the main focus of book on decision making in practical fields using rational tools, the last few lines. Okay, so how I have understood so far that author is positive about this book. Author has said that it can help us solving the real world problem. But author has also pointed out that there is a gap. It needed perhaps much more deep thought on why few things happen. And then author again says that this is a book which focuses on practical fields. Let us look at what lies ahead. Look, he starts with despite again. So that's again a shift. Despite the undeniable power of the sort of rationality he describes, many of their deepest insights in the history of science, maths, music, and art strike their originators in moment of epiphany. What is epiphany? If I know the meaning, then entire paragraph becomes easy for me. Sudden realization, a moment of sudden realization that this is how things happen. Sapne mein aa gaya kind of thing. Right. So he is saying that yes, rationality is important, but some of the most deep insights in the world happened in sudden realization, not in the moment of rationality. I can anticipate that he would have given the entire explanation and the example of what happened. And that's exactly what this paragraph has done. From the 19th century chemist Frederick August Kekulé's discovery of the structure of benzene to any of Mozart's symphony, much extraordinary human achievement is not a product of conscious sequential reasoning. Remember, this conscious sequential reasoning is rationality used in the previous paragraph. Example of that. Example of that, right? So here what has happened is definite shift in direction. Now there is a definite shift. Now author is saying that you cannot rely only on rationality. Rationality is a powerful, but many deepest insight happened without being rational. So that's what the paragraph is about. The last paragraph. The role of moral and ethical education in promoting rational behavior is also underexplored. Another negative of this book pointed out. Pinker recognizes that rationality is not just a cognitive virtue but a moral one, but this profoundly important point, once subtly explored by ancient Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, doesn't really get developed. This is a shame. He has called it a shame that it is underexplored. So he is definitely negative about the book here. Right? So another drawback, role of moral and ethical education is underexplored. Author has said that even Plato and Aristotle talked about it, but the Pinker did not get into depth and did not develop it. So that is what the entire passage is about. If I have to, in nutshell, tell you in 3 lines, what is it? Author is positive about Pinker picking up rationality as a subject and its practical use. Then author says that, but rationality is not the only thing that is important. Some big discoveries have happened in the moment of epiphany. And towards the end, author says that even in the field of education, the role of moral and ethical education in promoting rational behavior, even that is under explored. So it is a complete analysis. Good points, bad points. Both the things are there. It's analytical passage. Let us look at the questions. The author endorses Pinker's view on importance of logical reasoning as it. The author endorses. It is asking me author supports. So why is author supporting? Author has talked about that it solves pretty much real world issues, and he has picked up an important issue of rationality. So author supports him in those things. Let us look at the option. Equips people with the ability to tackle challenging practical problems. Yes. He has said that if you have the rational tools, you can perhaps use them to solve the real world issues. Good choice. Provides a moral compass for resolving important ethical dilemmas. Author has said that Pinker's book does not do that. So this is exact opposite of what is there in the passage. This definitely cannot be the answer because this is one of the drawback of the book. Third, focuses public attention on real issues like development rather than sensational events. The Pinker's book does not help, but author says the application of it could help. However, Pinker has not fully gave us depth of the important issue. So not the some not some it's a sidetrack thing. It can help, right? Author has said that it can help, right? But right now Pinker has not given us depth on why there is so much misguided news. And if it can be provided, then public attention can be focused on real issue. So a sidetrack kind of option. Last one, helps people to gain expertise in statistics and other scientific discipline. This definitely is something which is alien. Maybe the words would have been used here and there, but definitely not in this context that people will gain expertise in statistics and scientific discipline. Why will a normal person try to gain expertise in that? So the right answer is option number one. Look at it. Around 49% attempted this, 50% attempted it, and accuracy is 54%. So moderate question. 40 to 60% accuracy is moderate question. Let us look at the next question. The author refers to the ancient Greek philosophers. Author has referred to ancient Greek philosophers in the last 2 paragraphs, I think. Yeah, Plato, Socrates, and specifically here Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. So why has he referred to them? Without looking at the option, I can tell that author has compared Pinker and these philosophers, and author has said that there is a gap here in Pinker's analysis. So author is negative when he has used it. First, show how dreams and vision have for centuries influenced subconscious behavior and path-breaking invention. Is this even the main part? Show how dreams and visions have for centuries influenced subconscious behavior. He has simply given it as an example that some of the deepest insights have happened in the moment of epiphany. The example of Greek philosophers is definitely not for this. In fact, if you read properly the last paragraph, look at it. Look at the last paragraph. Where is Greek philosopher used? But this profoundly important point, once subtly explored by ancient Greek philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, doesn't get developed. So Plato and Aristotle did that, but Pinker has not done that. This is a shame. So this has no relation, maybe a sidetrack kind of thing which is mentioned somewhere but not related to this particular question. Reveal gaps in Pinker's discussion of the importance, ethical consideration, rational behavior. Yes, if you have identified the main sentence of this particular paragraph, then you know this has to be the answer. But let us look at the other things also. Indicate the various similarities between their thinking and Pinker's conclusion. Yes, he has demonstrated similarities, but he has used this as an example not to show the similarity, but the gap actually. Because see how the flow shifted from positive to negative about this book. Highlight the influence of their thinking on the development of Pinker's argument. I can't say that Pinker is influenced by them. So this is something which is alien, not discussed in the passage. So the right answer is option number 2. Attempt 49%, accuracy 38%. I don't know why the accuracy is low, because if you identify the key idea, then it has to be 2 only, nothing else. Okay, so this one, perhaps the easiest of all the question. The author mentioned Kekule's discovery on the structure of benzene and Mozart's symphonies to illustrate the point. Why has he used it? He has used it here now. He has used it as an example of the main sentence of the fourth or fifth paragraph. This was the main sentence. He said that most important things sometimes happen in the moment of epiphany. What is it? Pinker's conclusion on sequential reasoning are belied by European achievements, which in the past were more rooted on unconscious bursts of genius. What are all these things? These are too extreme. Great innovations across various fields can stem from flashes of intuition and are not always propelled by logical thinking. Looks a decent choice. It is not just the creative art, but also scientific fields that have benefited from flashes of creativity, not related to the main sentence that I'm looking for. Unlike the sciences, human achievement in other fields are mix of logical reasoning and spontaneous epiphanies. Now, people would have marked that, but just because there is word epiphany used, the obvious thing, the answer is option number 2. And look at the accuracy, it's 81%. But look at the attempt, only 50%. Right? And if I look at the attempt of the previous question, in fact, almost all the question, 50% attempts are there. So perhaps 50% of the people write the passage. Okay. Last question. According to the author, for Pinker as well as the ancient Greek philosopher, rational thinking all involves all of the following except. Now have to look at the similarity. Both of them said something similar, right? One thing is not similar, we have to mark. The first one, an awareness of underlying assumption in an argument and gap in one's knowledge. Yeah, this is discussed in this particular paragraph. The belief that the ability to reason logically encompasses an ethical and moral dimension, right? So author has said that he has discussed, but it is underexplored. So discussion is there. Arriving at an independent conclusion irrespective of who is presenting the argument. This is again given in the second last paragraph here, not simply trusting a speaker's authority or charisma. The last one, the primacy of conscious sequential reasoning is the basis for seminal human achievement. No, this is something that Pinker has said or assumed that sequential reasoning is important. But Plato and Aristotle also thought about the moment of epiphany and the intuition wala part. So the right answer is option number 4. People would have left it because perhaps the words like except they induce errors, they induce error, right? But moderate level question. So this is how you could have attempted the passage. Now let me go to the verbal part. Okay. So yeah, this is the question. If you want, you can, I mean, you can just try attempting it for a minute. I'm giving you time. Okay. So there is a sentence that is missing in the paragraph below. Look at the paragraph and decide where the following sentence would best fit. Beyond undermining the monopoly of the state on the use of force, armed conflict also creates an environment that can enable organized crime to prosper. Mentally, I would imagine that something will follow this. Right? Why? Because look at the construct. Beyond A, armed conflict also does B. That's the kind of construct. Beyond A, something is doing B. So what will follow is how that something is doing B. That kind of logic statement is there. Okay. So I really doubt that it will come in the last sentence. Just by the look and feel of the sentence, I'm saying that it may come because in CAT sometimes things like that happen. Okay, let us look at the paragraph. Linkages between illicit arms, organized crime, and armed conflict can reinforce one another while also escalating and prolonging violence and eroding governance. So the line says that there are linkages between three things. This may be A, B, C. They reinforce one another. So illicit arms, organized crime and armed conflict, they reinforce one another and also escalate violence, and it erodes governance. Then blank. Now, here also there was talk about monopoly of the state. So the given sentence talks about monopoly of the state, right? And it has relation between armed conflict and organized crime. How armed conflict provides an environment in which organized crime can prosper. It can come here. And I'm sure that a lot of students would have put it here because of the word governance. But let us see, it may not. What is important is what follows this statement. After the given sentence, what should follow is explanation of how armed conflict builds the environment for crime to prosper. Let us look at the statement following blank 2. Financial gains from crime can lengthen or intensify armed conflicts by creating revenue streams from non-state armed groups. Debatable. I'm not very sure. It can come in the two. One unlikely hai, one to it's a good opening. 4 is I have eliminated. It can be between 2 and 3. Let us look at what follows 3. In this context, in which context? That gives me a hint. In this context, when hostilities cease and parties to a conflict move towards a peaceful resolution, the widespread availability of surplus arms and ammunition can contribute to a situation of criminalized peace that obstructs sustainable peace building efforts. Look at this. This explains me how armed conflict creates mahal for the organized crime. How it does. When hostility cease and parties to conflict move towards a peaceful resolution, the widespread availability of armed conflict, provide a situation of criminalized peace. Crime is prospering. So the right blank should be 3 and not 2. I'm fine with people marking 2, but 1 and 4 definitely shouldn't have been marked. But if you read the sentence properly and you try to figure out that what can follow next, there is only one thing that can follow, and that is the option number 3. However, in the actual exam, you could have rejected this question and not attempted it if it caused pain. Okay. But let me tell you, in the verbal question, it becomes very difficult after reading the entire thing to, skip. It's easy to say skip, but very difficult to implement skipping, in particularly in verbal ability and reading comprehension if you have read it. That's why you see the second passage, the accuracy for all the 4 questions was almost 50-50-50%, except the last one, which perhaps people left, according to me, because of all of the following, except something of that sort. The structure of the question stem. Okay. Now this question, again, if you see, I've picked up both the questions of para completion because I felt that this is something which is important and people do commit mistake. For theoretical purpose, arguments may be considered as freestanding entities abstracted from their context of use in human activities. What does it say? Let me read it again. For theoretical purpose, arguments may be considered as freestanding entities abstracted from their context of use in human activities. For theoretical purpose, arguments may be considered this. So what I will expect is just above this line, that is preceding line or the succeeding line, should talk about, if this is theoretical purpose, then what happens in the practical purpose or something of that sort. Let me read. So can it come in blank number 1? For theoretical purpose, arguments may be considered as freestanding entities abstracted from their context of use in human activities. It talks about human activities. What is this line talking about? An argument can be defined as a complex symbolic structure where some part, known as premises, offer support to another, the conclusion. Alternatively, an argument can be viewed as a complex speech act consisting of one or more acts of premising, which assert proposition in favor of the conclusion, an act of concluding, and a state of implicit marker that indicate the conclusion follows from the premise. So confusing. So confusing. If I know what is an argument which I know, then it is easy for me. But for someone who is reading it for the first time, this is absolutely confusing. But we don't have to understand the meaning of each and every line. We need to understand the role, the tone. The tone here is for theoretical purpose. Arguments may be considered as freestanding entities abstracted from their context of use in actual human activities. This is definition. This is definition. So far, definition part has come. I don't have to understand that. After definition, very unlikely that author will give his opinion on something. Then it continues, the definition continues. The relation of support between premises and conclusion can be cashed out in different ways. The premises may guarantee the truth of conclusion or make its truth more probable. The premise may imply the conclusion. The premise may make the conclusion more acceptable. Again, confusing. Let me look at 3. A definition has come and then suddenly, but depending on one's explanatory goal, there is also much to be gained from considering argument as they in fact occur in human communicative purpose. Look at this. This gives me hint, right? There is a but. There is a tone shift from neutral to but. Definitely something should come here. So this sentence will come here where this given sentence says that for theoretical purpose, you may consider argument as freestanding entities. They don't have anything to do with human activity. But depending on your goal, you can gain if you can consider what in fact happens in human practices. So that gives me the hint, right? Look at answer 3. Attempt decent 65%, accuracy also decent 62%. Okay. Attention to the tone was helpful here. Okay. Let us look at what is this odd sentence. 5 jumbled up sentences related to a topic are given. 4 of them can be put together to form a coherent paragraph. Identify the odd sentence and key in the number of the sentence as your answer. Okay, let us see. Although hard skills have traditionally ruled the roost, some companies are moving away from choosing prospective hires based on technical abilities alone. So this is about hard skills and how companies are shifting. Companies are shaking off the old definition of an ideal candidate and ditching the idea of looking for singularly perfect candidate altogether. So this is again talking about the companies and what they are trying to do. They are not looking for ideal candidate. They are not looking for somebody who is perfect. Third, now some job descriptions are frequently asking for candidates to demonstrate soft skills such as leadership or teamwork. This is about soft skills. So 3 sentences talking about the jobs, but all 3 talking about different ideas. This talking about hard skill. This talking about we are not looking for ideal candidate. This talking about looking for soft skill. Okay. Fourth, that's not to say that the practical know-how is no longer required. Some jobs still call for highly specific expertise. What does this mean? It means that it is not that you do not need to know the deep inside knowledge of the job that you are doing. Some jobs do require specific expertise. Okay. So this also talks about skill. The move towards prioritizing soft skill is a natural response to 3 years of the pandemic, says a senior recruiter at Senlar FSB. So why this move is happening is because a reason has been given. So soft skill की तरफ move हो रहा है. Third, 3 is talking about. 5 is explaining that why this move is happening. 3, 5 looks good. Even 1 and 4, they talk about the same thing. 1 talks about the hard skill. 4 talks about it is not that the hard skills are no more required, right? They are still required. So 1 and 4 also are part of it. If you look at 2, this is related to company, but it is telling me, it is talking about an ideal candidate. The entire the remaining 4 sentences, they are talking about these skills and not the ideal candidate or something of that sort, right? So look at the accuracy. Attempt is good. So many people do attempt it, but accuracy is 39%. I tell you what people would have marked. I think they would have marked 4 or 5. High chances. 5 because this looks like a distraction. Why? What is this sudden thing coming up? Say the senior recruiter at Senlar FSB. And this perhaps because it doesn't talk about hard skill, soft skill, candidate. So I think 4 or 5 would have been something that many people would have marked. Okay. Now the parajumble. The four sentences given below, when properly sequenced, would yield a coherent paragraph. Decide on the proper sequencing of the order of the sentence and key in the sequence of the phone number as your answer. Veena Sahajwala, material scientist at the University of New South Wales, believe there is a new way of solving this problem. So definitely this is not the opening sentence. Her vision is for automated drones and robots to pick out components, put them in a small furnace and smelt them at a specific temperature to extract the metals one by one before they are sent off to manufacturers for reuse. Some process has been explained. And what is her plan? That has been explained. One is not the opening, two is not the opening. E-waste contains huge quantities of valuable metals, ceramics and plastics that could be salvaged and recycled, although currently not enough of it is. This is a good opening. It says that e-waste has huge quantity of valuable metals, but all which can be recycled, which can be salvaged. Right now, we are not doing it. So 3 is a good opening. 4, she plans to build a micro factories. So her and she, it automatically gives me the hint that after 3, what will follow is 1, because 1 introduces this person, Veena Sahajwal, and it also talks about, believes there is a new way of solving this problem. What was the problem? Problem is that there is not currently enough of it. I mean, the process that is. So 3 and 1 will follow. Now, what are we talking about in 2 and 4? We have already read 2. Let us look at 4. She plans to build a micro factories that can tease apart the tangle of material in mobile phones, computers, and other e-waste. So her plan is discussed. 2 talks about the process. So what will come first? The plan and then the process of executing that plan. That how the person intends to do it. So right answer is 3142. Attempt is also pretty high and accuracy is also high. So definitely students found it easier, I think. Okay, so this is problem. A problem is given who, what, and how. That kind of question. Okay, let us look at the summary question. So gradually life for the island's bird is improving. Antarctic prions and white-headed petrels, which also nest in burrows, had managed to cling on in some sites while pests were on the island. Their numbers are now increasing. It is fantastic and so exciting, Shaw says. As birds return to breed, they also poo. This adds nutrition to the soil, which in turn helps the plants to grow back stronger. Tall plants then help burrowing birds hide from the predatory skuas. It's this wonderful feedback loop, Shaw says. Today, the pretty paddock and the Houghton first experience has been transformed. The tussock is over your head and you are dodging all these penguin tunnels, she says. The orchid and the tiny herb have that had been protected by fencing have started turning up all over the place. What is the passage talking about? It is talking about something positive. Something positive has happened. It is defining the process, that how this process of positive thing has happened, right? So it is a process. All these things, which I find very boring to read, the process part. But I always focus on the role that a sentence is playing rather than understanding its meaning. So it's a process of how something good has happened. And what good thing has happened? It's that's given in the first line. Gradually, life for island birds is improving. And author has explained that how. Let us look at the options. There is an increasing number of predatory birds and plants on the island despite the presence of pests, which is a positive development. Now, people would have marked this for the sure. But look at it. With respect to pest, is this the main idea that that author is trying to convey? Plus, also other thing is okay. Life for the island's bird is improving. Antarctic prawns and white-headed petrels, which also nest in burrows, had managed to cling in on some sites while pests were on the island. It is talking about the past tense. The process started when pests were on the island and few birds were able to cling on. Few birds were able to survive, perhaps. So this is about the past tense and not about about how pests are helping or despite the presence of pests, the predatory birds are able to are increasing in number. It's not about that. So that is something which we call as a scrambled option, picking up the words from the passage paragraph and making an option around it. So this kind of cause and effect relationship is not there. This won't be the answer. Another problem here is that which is a positive development. So what is the positive development? The presence of pest or this? I am a bit confused. Obviously, it is trying to say the predatory birds, but the sentence structure is not very concrete in nature. But that is a smaller reason for me to say one is not the answer. Second, in the absence of pest, life on island is now protected, and there has been a revival of variety of birds and plants. This looks good, although I'm not very confident. Third, flowering plants, herbs, and birds are now being protected on this wonderful Antarctic island. Look at this. This is this is very alien kind of thing. Yeah, wonderful word has been used, but that's not the author. The author has quoted someone. Flowering plant, herbs, and birds are now being protected. The entire message that author is trying to convey of how, what, that's missing here. There is a huge positive transformation. This huge word itself suggests me that this is not right. This is far too extreme in nature, right? This is far too extreme in nature for me, right? So the right answer is answer number two. I'm not very convinced that in the absence of pest should come there, but it is there. But it is mentioned. That's the best available thing. I think a lot of people would have marked maybe one, three, I don't know what. All the four options were bad. All the four options were bad. Not very convincing, but then in such cases, you have to mark the one which is the most convincing, which you can defend the most out of all four. All others have problem. Even two has problem, but it has a problem of much lesser degree as compared to one, three, and four. Right, guys. So that is it of my discussion. So yeah, the varc 1000 course has been launched. If you are looking for a complete solution to your varc problem, then this is the course. I'm sure that you would have heard about Jijo sir and his methodology of teaching varc. So here is the course. You can visit the website, check it, and perhaps if you feel like you can get enrolled for the course. That's it from my side, guys. Thank you so much. I will be more than happy to take few queries if you have. You can perhaps post in the chat box. We have some time left with us, 5-7 minutes maybe. So I will take couple of queries if you have. Yeah. If anyone has query, Nikun sir is here right now. So for DILR. Anyone has query, Nikun sir is here right now. So for DILR.
Thank you, Siddharth.
So there is one query. Let me handle this if
Sure,
you
please
allow.
go ahead.
Just
Please
couple
go
of
ahead.
minutes. The last two options में mistake होती है. Elimination बता दो एक बार. Rudraksh Negi. Yeah, so Rudraksh, that is the perennial problem. I think that most of the students struggle with that. Even we struggle with that sometimes. But my basic funda is that I will mark the option that is most defendable, that is most balanced in nature as per the passage. So, and most of the time it is the words like, so for example, it can happen is a better choice than it should happen, that kind of tone. So I look for balanced option. And if you have attended this session from the beginning, we talked about the elimination strategy using beast framework. So follow that framework. And even after doing that, I mean, you will commit mistakes. It's as I said, accuracy will be an issue in the vrc. It will not be possible to for anyone to get, say, 90-95% accuracy. Few may get, but for by and large, the large section of the students won't be able to get that kind of accuracy. So work on elimination as much as you can. That will help. Do we need to increase reading speed? No. I mean, if you can read 180, 200 words per minute, that's good enough. Tanu, what is required is that how effective you are as a reader. Whether you can pick out the main ideas quickly as I have demonstrated. That is what is required. Whether you focus on the meaning of the sentence or the role of the sentence, should focus on role of the sentence, not meaning of the sentence. But as a reader, that's what we try to do. So try to build on those skills. Improving reading speed might not be that useful. Sir, how many hours to spend on reading every day to build a strong reading muscle? At least 40 minutes. But it's very difficult for me to put a time frame here because it depends on what stage of reading you are. So if you are a beginner and if I say that you read 40 minutes to 1 hour every day on essays, you're not going to do it. That's a YouTube hack, but hacks rarely work, right? So it depends on your story, where you are, what kind of person you are, and from there on you build the strategy. But yeah, 30-40 minutes a day would definitely help. Maximum number of question to attempt in exam VARC, it is 24, Ritvika. You should look to attempt 24 questions. You may end up attempting 18-20, that's a different issue, but intention should be to attempt more questions. No, see, when I attempt all the question, I get 7 to 8 wrong, guys. DM. Let me tell you, if you are attempting 24 question and if you are getting, say, even 10 wrong, 24 questions, you are getting 10 wrong, your score will be 14 into 3, 42 minus 10, 32. That's the least score. If you are getting 32, you would be getting around 95 percentile. If you are aiming for high 99s, then that's a different thing. Yes, you should, but high 99s won't be possible without attempting, say, 20 to 23 questions. So do not worry. If what you are saying is right, then you are on right track. Focus on looking at what is going wrong without reducing the attempt. The attempts may reduce, but that should only happen when the exam is difficult, or you are not able to understand how to solve the question. Right, then that's it from my side. I will wait for someone to, yeah, maybe Nikun sir will join. And so the questions, I've addressed all the question. Can you suggest any book to read? Follow what you like. You can pick up that genre and start building the reading habit. Okay, so over to you, Nikun sir.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to this session on DILR. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay. Right, so we'll be solving the CAT 23 slot 3 paper. Before I get on to that, let us quickly look at what happened in CAT 25 in terms of the scores and the percentile cutoffs of the DILR section. So if I see here, last year, that is CAT 25, a 90 percentile in LRDI came at a score of 17, which means only 6 questions you had to get it correct. which means if you solve 1.5 cases correctly, you could easily reach 90 percentile. So one thing which has to be really made clear is that when we get 4 cases, and remember we had 5 cases in CAT 25. Okay, so when I have 5 cases, I do not have to approach the paper with the mindset that I have to do all 5 or I have to do 4. So even if you are able to do 2, you are sitting at 90 percentile. Even if you are able to do 1 correctly, you are sitting at an 80-85 percentile. So please understand that in the given 40-minute time scenario, it is very difficult to go beyond 3 sets. Somebody who's very good at LRDI could look at 3.5. Average made 2 sets, and somebody who's very weak in LRDI, even 1 plus set would be good enough in a difficult paper like CAT 25. Okay, so you need to spend out of the 40 minutes, first 3-4 minutes in scrolling the paper and understanding which sets to start with. Do not begin with the first set. So the question paper option comes to you. I'm sure you've taken a couple of mocks. So there, when you press on to the question paper option, the entire paper opens up in the PDF format. Scroll through the LRDI section. See the 4 or 5 cases. Are they DI oriented? Are they graph oriented? Are they arrangement oriented? Games, tournaments है? किस genre से questions आए हैं? And you know exactly where your strength lies. So accordingly, select the order in which you would like to attempt the cases. This is very, very critical. You do not want to end up starting with a very tough set and then perhaps not getting time to look at an easy one. So that is very critical that I start with the right set. Having said that, once you start the set, give it yourself 3 to 4 minutes. If that is making headway, you are being able to move further, go ahead. Otherwise, the cutoff time for any set has to be maximum 5 minutes, after which I need to take that hard call that नहीं मुझे से नहीं हो रहा है, I have to move to the next set. Worst to worst, अगर आपका first 2 set भी wrong selection होता है, then you end up spending 15 minutes without having done anything. Don't worry. For every student, there will be at least 2 sets which are doable, and it will come to you either in your 3rd or 4th attempt, worst case. So आप आराम से अपना 2 set कर लोगे, and don't rush. The case which you are able to solve, first 5 minutes look positive, look encouraging, spend another 5-10 minutes. आप ये मत समझिए कि आप 5-7 मिनट में कोई केस कर लेंगे. Give yourself 10-12 minutes at least to solve a case completely. Sometimes looking at the questions also might help to understand whether this set seems to be easy or not. Okay, additional data-based questions. Every question is new set of data. Either or options coming up, can be, maybe options always create issues. Firm options straight away, straightforward ones are always easier. Okay. Now, if you look at over the years, तो जो पेपर हम लोग आज करेंगे, unfortunately, आप अगर देखो, this has been one of the toughest DI sections over the last 7-8 years. Okay, so why this was tough was because you could not find any easy case here, and there was no graph-based question. The worst part was there was no graph-based question. Like CAT 24, one easy graph came, so everybody jumped onto that. Okay, so here 4 cases, lot of data involved in terms of not calculation, in terms of arranging in the table, and no single case was directly done doable. Okay? But having said that, when we solve the 4 cases, you will realize कि आप कम से कम 2 केस इसमें आराम से कर सकते थे. In terms of the breakup of the type of the topics which you have been getting over the years, so as we see, reasoning is a key element here. 14 questions, big block coming. Venn diagrams has gone down over the last 3-4 years. Arrangement is a big issue. Scheduling. So these 3 main areas, and when I say arithmetic based DI, this has not come. ये alternate year में मोटा मोटी आया है. CAT 23 didn't see, CAT 25 didn't have much of DI, but 24 had a very, very easy DI. Okay. So alternately, you do get one DI based question, and this is generally a gift. So ये अगर आगे आपके साल में cutoffs are bound to go up. But barring these, I think arrangements, games and tournaments also you generally find in questions. एंड यहाँ पे आप देख रहे होंगे arrangements, games and tournaments. Reasoning is a very important part, though it looks very broad based, but as we solve questions, I will tell you which ones were reasoning also. Okay, in terms of difficulty, you will not find easy. So this is the sad part here, that not too many easy questions coming up. So almost equally divided in the easy, medium, difficult, difficult. But these are the sets which have to be our target. Okay. In any LRDI paper, and this I am picking it factually over the last 9 to 10 years of actual CAT papers. Okay, so let's get started, guys. I will try to solve all the four. Most probably time will permit. अगर नहीं होगा तो शायद लास्ट में एक हमको थोड़ा फास्ट मूव करना पड़ेगा. So this is not one of the very easy sets. So this was perhaps not to be attempted. The second set, if you see, was the easiest one. So I think I'll start with set 2 and then I'll come to set 1 later. In any LR DI question, not DI specifically LR, we need to have our table done properly. If you're having a rough, the format properly put on the paper, then I think it will make things much easier for you. Okay. So now, if I just quickly go through the question. In a coaching class, some students register online, some register offline. No student registers both. So it's either online or offline. Total is the sum of online and offline. Jan to month, May is the data which we are going to deal with, 5 months. So this particular table here gives you the minimum, the maximum, and the median of online, offline, as well as the total. All the numbers are in multiples of 10, so that makes my job much simpler. In January, the number of offline registrations was twice that of online. So if online is X, then offline typically would become 2X. Okay. The second point, in April, the number of online registrations, one moment please. The number of online was twice that of offline. So if this is Y, this is 2Y. In the number of online registrations in March was the same as the number of offline in February. So if offline in February, let's say take it as Z variables. The number of online registrations was the largest in May. So this was the highest value. Now, if you look at the online table here, minimum is 40, maximum is 100, and median is 80. Now, if I know May is maximum online, immediately, okay? And now if you correlate with the total maximum is 130 and the offline minimum is 30. And if you have 100 online in May, the only way this can be filled up is if I put 30 in offline and took 130 as the total. तो offline में 30 से कम होगा नहीं, total में 130 से ज़्यादा जाएगा नहीं. So that is the only combination possible for the month of May. Now once you have filled that up, now if you look at the minimum of online is 40 and online January is X and offline is 2X. Offline maximum is 80. So obviously the only combination that fits in here is 40 for online, because offline cannot go beyond 80. Online cannot go less than 40. And if there's a double relationship, the only way that can fit in is that I come to 40 and 80. Okay. And therefore, total of January becomes 120, which is also the median of the totals. Median, I hope you know, is the middle value. Okay. Now, similarly, April month, offline is Y and online is 2Y. The online median is 80. अभी अगर ये 2y होगा तो obviously be a big value, and median 80 means one of the months must be 80. So therefore, by that logic, the only way possible value is this comes 40, because y, if you look at y, it can be the 30 or 40. Now if I take y as 30, then 2y will become 60, then April month will become 90, and minimum of any month is 110. So therefore 30, 60 is not possible. So the only way possible will be 40 and 80, which means April is also 120. So I have two median values coming for total. No problem with that. So now Z is the critical value. How do I get Z? Remember, 50 is the median for offline, which has still not been arrived in offline. April, May, both are below 50. That means now I need to get February, March. One of them has to become 50. Okay. Remember, the minimum total is 110, and that has also not yet been arrived. So February, March may say one of the totals will also become minimum, that is 110. I have to get 110. Now, Z, if I take Z as 50, that's one possibility. We will check out other cases also. Now, if I take it as 50, online May, the median was 80, which is April. That means February will have to become either 80 or more than 80. Because 40, 50, दो value 80 से कम आ चुका है. Now, if I take this as 80, then February total becomes 130, which means I need 100 for sure 1 month. Minimum month is 110. So therefore, this becomes 60. So here one combination fits in where every value is fitting the possibilities. Now, instead of Z being taken as 50, I could have taken this as 60, let's say, and this as 50. So मुझे median तो देना ही पड़ेगा. Now, if I put this as 60, then this month, February, I know minimum will be 80. Because remember, April was 80, May was 100. Okay. So, if I put 60 as Z, then March will also become 60. तो 40, 60 दो वैल्यू 80 से कम आ गया, 80 मीडियन है, तो फरवरी में हमको 80 देना पड़ेगा. 80 plus 60 becomes 140. That crosses the maximum limit. So therefore, this value of 60 for Z is not possible. So the only combination fitting in is Z equal to 50. So once you are able to fit this table in, you will be able to easily solve the questions. Okay. Now, if you look at the questions of set 2, don't go by the non-MCQ MCQ funda. LR mein that really doesn't help too much. Okay. Just because it's a non-MCQ doesn't mean it is difficult. And most of the LRs you will find a combination. Not out of 5 questions, might be 3 will be with options and 2 will be without options. Okay. So first question was a direct question. Second was a direct question. Moment I see number 1 and 2, it becomes very clear that the table will entirely fill up. There will be no either or situations. Okay. Now 3, 4 and 5. See, 1, 2 and 5 are direct questions. 3 and 4 are giving word like can and again can. And or question 4 to confuse you also gives you multiple choices. Now this is where you have to be very careful. अगर आपके पास फर्स्ट 2 क्वेश्चन डायरेक्ट है तो इसका मतलब है कि टेबल विल बी ऑलमोस्ट फुल्ली डन. हो सकता है कोई पर्टिकुलर एक मंथ का आपका नहीं भरे because of question 3 and 4 creating doubts in our mind, but question 5 again has come direct. So many a times I have seen in LRDI 1 or 2 questions purposely they put a can or may to confuse you. So don't get confused by that. अगर 5 में से 3 डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस हैं, 99% केस में all the questions will be single answers. And moreover, अगर नॉन एमसीक्यू है तो 2 आंसर आ ही नहीं सकता. तो नॉन एमसीक्यूज वाले में एक बहुत अच्छा चीज होता है दैट नॉर्मली द टेबल्स फिल अप कंप्लीटली. देयर इज नो एम्बिग्विटी इन्वॉल्व्ड और देयर इज नो मल्टीपल टेबल्स और मल्टीपल आंसर्स कमिंग इन नॉन एमसीक्यूज. सो दिस वन सेट आई थिंक वाज वर्थ अटेम्प्टिंग, एंड वंस योर मीडियन फंडा इज क्लियर देन आई थिंक यू कैन इजीली गेट दिस सेट डन. ओके, नाउ लेट्स मूव टू सेट 3. Set 3 also is one of those sets which was not a very easy one to do. So if you take my call here, I would have done set 2 and set 4. Set 1 and 3 I would have left for the end. तो हम लोग वैसे ही करते हैं, पहले हम लोग set 4 कर देते हैं, उसके बाद 1 and 3 में आएंगे. If you look at set 4, there are 3 female students, 3 male students. Names are given to you. The good part is all the initials are different letters, so I can use short forms. There are 2 evaluation components, a project and a test. The aggregate score is the weighted average of the 2 components. Weights are not given to you. You have to find the weights. But of course, the weights are adding up to 1. That's very clear. The projects are done in groups of 2, with each group consisting of a female and a male. Both the group members obtain the same score in the project. इसके मतलब प्रोजेक्ट में 3 टीम है और 3 ही स्कोर आएगा. बट टेस्ट में 6 इंडिविजुअल लोग हैं, 6 स्कोर आएंगे. The minimum, maximum and the average, not the median here, they have given the mean or the average for both project and test scores were same. Minimum is 40, maximum is 80 and average is 60. Average 60 means that the total must be 360 because there are 6 individuals. So that is a very clear inference we can draw from here. And it is also very clear the project में 3 ही स्कोर आएंगे तो एक टीम का स्कोर 40 आएगा, एक टीम का स्कोर 80 आएगा और एक टीम का स्कोर 60 आएगा. But of course in tests there will be 6 different scores. All are in multiples of 10. In the test it says 4 of them were distinct and the remaining 2 were equal to the average test score. The average test score is 60. इसके मतलब टेस्ट में 260 आएगा और 4 और वैल्यू आएंगे. उसमें एक मिनिमम 40 है, एक मैक्सिमम 80 है. बाकी 2 वैल्यू जो है वो 40 से ज्यादा होंगे और 80 से कम होंगे. इसके मतलब एक 50 होगा और एक 70 होगा. मल्टीपल ऑफ 10 में 40 और 80 के बीच में अगर डिफरेंट वैल्यूज चाहिए तो 50 और 70 ही आता है. सो वैल्यूज ऑफ टेस्ट्स आर ऑब्टेन्ड, द वैल्यूज ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स आर ऑब्टेन्ड. अभी मुझे असाइन करना है किस आदमी को क्या वैल्यू मिला. Now towards that there are 4 points given here, 3 to 6. We will try to put them in, but ये टेबल आपको ऐसा बनाना पड़ेगा. 6 names given, project score, test score, aggregate score, and the totals we know are 360 each. So let's look at the first point or third point in this order. A, I'm talking of A. अमला, मैं पूरा नाम नहीं ले रहा हूं. A score in the project was double that of K. Okay. सो प्रोजेक्ट में हम लोग देख चुके हैं 40, 80, 60. तो अगर डबल का रिलेशनशिप है तो ए का 80 आएगा और के का 40 आएगा. ए के आर मेल्स, सॉरी, ए के आर फीमेल, सॉरी, एंड बी एम एस आर मेल्स. बट K scored 20 more than A in the test. 20 का डिफरेंस है टेस्ट में. Yet A had the highest aggregate score. अगर A का हाईएस्ट एग्रीगेट स्कोर होगा तो A का टेस्ट स्कोर भी बहुत लो नहीं होगा. 20 का गैप है तो 40-60 looks highly improbable because 40 if you give to K, then उसका aggregate score maximum होने का chance कम है. तो 60-80 हो सकता है, 50-70 हो सकता है. There are these possibilities. So let us keep both options now. It can be 60 here, 80 here, or 50 here, 70 here. I don't know. Let us keep both the options intact. S scored the second highest in the test. In the test, we have seen the second highest score will be 70. तो अगर यहां 70 आ गया, that means यहां 50-70 नहीं हो सकता है. It has to be 60-80. S scored 2 more than Kohli, but 2 less than Amla in the aggregate. तो अगर S का 2 more than Kohli है, 2 less than Amla है, तो अगर हम S को X देते हैं तो कोहली विल बी X -2 and Amla will be X +2, which means Amla and Kohli have a gap of 4 in terms of the aggregate score. Okay, S had 2 more than Kohli and 2 less than Amrita or Amla, sorry. Point number 5, B scored the second lowest in the test. Second lowest in the test we have seen is 50 and the lowest in the aggregate. We'll come to that, but 50 is clear. M scored more than R in the project. M scored more than R in the project. So R, agar A 60 and K is 40, R has to be 60. Because तीन ही स्कोर है प्रोजेक्ट का, and every female will belong to 3 different teams. Okay, so coming back, M scored more than R. That means M must have scored 80 and less than her in the test. तो 60 से अगर कम स्कोर किया है टेस्ट में M ने, तो अभी 2 स्कोर्स बचे हैं टेस्ट के, एक 40 और एक 60. That means M will be 40 and R will be 60. तो R का प्रोजेक्ट स्कोर भी 60 है, टेस्ट स्कोर भी 60 है. दैट मींस उसका एग्रीगेट स्कोर भी 60 होगा. ओके, नाउ आई एम लेफ्ट विद B and S. B में एक, one of them will be 40, one of them will be 60. But given that B has the lowest aggregate score, then I think we must put B as 40 here and S as 60. Now, the biggest issue here is the weights. We don't have any idea of the weights. Let the project weight be, let's say K, and let the test weight be 1 minus K. So now, for A, what will be the aggregate score? How will I find the weighted average? 80K plus 60 into 1 minus K. This will be A's aggregate minus K's aggregate. This should be equal to 4 because Amla and Kohli's difference in aggregate score is 4 marks. So if you solve for K here, K will come out to be 0.4. अगर आप K को solve करें तो आपका K आ जाएगा 0.4. So which means if K is 0.4, then A is the project and 0.6 is the weightage for the test. So 80 into 0.4 is 32, 60 into 0.6 is 36, 32 plus 36 इसका हो गया 60, इसका हो गया 68, 64 and X becomes 66. Similarly, 40 into 0.4 is 16, 50 into 0.6 is 30, that becomes 46. 80 into 0.4 is 32, 40 into 0.6 is 24, 32 plus 24, that is 56, and X we know. So now you realize that if B would have become 60 here, तब मेरा क्या आता 60 into 0.4 24 होता ऑन 30, तो ये 54 हो जाता। एंड अगर मैं S को 40 देता तो 16 एंड 42 58। एक मिनट, इसमें वन मोमेंट। सेकेंड लोएस्ट इन द टेस्ट, ओके। Okay, so now if I would have put Biman as 60 here and S as 40, then what would have I got? 60 into 0.4 is 24 and 15 to 0.6 is 30. Then this would have become then 54. And 40 into 0.4 is 16 and ये होता 58. हाँ, बट x तो 66 मुझे पता है ना, तो इसलिए पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। रिमेंबर x इज 66, सो अगर 60 से ही 66 आएगा। अगर ये 70 है और अगर मैं 40 लगा दूं प्रोजेक्ट में s का, तब 66 आएगा ही नहीं। इसलिए the only way is possible is putting b as 40 and s is 60. So once this table is in place, then all the questions can be answered. तो यहां पे भी अगर आप देखें, all the scores were direct. And इसमें the good part was weightages were given. तो अगर ये इक्वेशन आप सॉल्व नहीं भी करते, आप ऑप्शंस लगा के भी वेटेज को निकाल सकते थे, because there were a lot of conditions given which could have been used. And all the 5 questions here were direct, and I would always prefer cases when there are direct questions like these. Okay, now let's come back to question 3 or set 3. Now set 3 is so let me look at any questions if we have had. One moment, please. All right. So let's look at set 3 now. So A, B, C, D, E, and F are the 6 police stations in an area. Okay. And they are connected by streets as shown below. 4 teams, team 1, team 2, team 3, and team 4 patrol these streets continuously, which means they are always on the move between 9 and 12 hours. So the movement is between 9 and 12, but they don't remain stationary. The important thing is they are continuously on the move. Okay. The teams need 30 minutes to cross any street connecting one police to the other station to the other. All 4 teams start from A at 9 and return to A at 12. So 9 to 12, 3 hours, and every journey is half an hour. So basically they make 4 journeys. 6 journeys. 3 hours, 6 journeys. 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10, 10 to 10:30, 10:30 to 11, 11 to 11:30, 11:30 to 12. So first journey starts from A from 9 and the last journey ends to A at 12. They can pass via station A at any point on their journeys. None of the streets has more than one team traveling along it in any direction at any point of time. Now that is a very, very critical point. At a given point of time, in one particular street, there will be only one team working. So you have to make a table like this, where at 9 o'clock, all the 4 teams are starting from A and all the 4 teams are ending at A at 12 o'clock. Okay? I think I have a question. Yeah. So as we read the conditions, we will try to fill the table up. First condition, teams 2 and 3 are the only ones in stations E and D respectively at 10 hours. So 10 बजे टीम 2 कहां पे है? E पे है. So let's put E there. और 10 बजे टीम 3 कहां पे है? D पे है. Let's put a D here. Next point, point 3. 2 हम लोग कवर कर चुके हैं. थर्ड पे आते हैं. Teams 1 and 3 are the only ones at station E at 10:30. तो 10:30 में 1 and 3 are at E. 1 भी E पे है और 3 भी E पे है. And remember, these are only words given. So उस समय और कोई भी वहां पे नहीं होगा. Teams 1 and 4 are the only ones in stations B and E respectively. तो 1 कहां पे है? B पे है 11:30 बजे और 4 है E पे. I'm just plugging in the data as given in the question now. Teams 1 and 4 are the only teams that patrol the street connecting A and E. तो A और E का जो स्ट्रीट है सिर्फ 1 और 4 ही यहां पे जाएंगे. A to E का जो कनेक्टिविटी है 2 and 3 teams cannot use that road. Only 1 and 4 will use that, and that is also a very, very important point. Team 4 never passes through B, D and F. तो 4 यहां नहीं जाएगा, 4 यहां भी नहीं जाएगा, 4 यहां भी नहीं जाएगा. तो 4 कहां जाएगा फिर? A, C और E. इसी में वो मूव करेगा. A to C, C to A, A to E, E to A. That is the only movement possible for team 4. So team 4 is the most restricted team in terms of movements. So therefore I will need to first try to finish for team 4. Team 4 सबसे easy होगा मेरे लिए भरना. फोर भी भर दे. टीम 3 का सिर्फ टीम 3 भी भर सकते हैं बिकॉज टीम 3 का भी 2 पॉइंट क्लियर है. लेट अस ट्राई टू फिल टीम्स 3 एंड 4 फर्स्ट, देन विल कम. 2 का डेटा सबसे कम दिया हुआ है. नाउ लुक एट द मूवमेंट. टीम 3 ए पे है 9 बजे, डी पे है 10 बजे. तो जब डी पे 10 बजे है तो वो या तो ए से सी जाएगा या उसको ए से ई आना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो वो डी पहुंच नहीं सकता है. That is pretty clear. So, and then D से E गया है. Okay? And we know that A to E only team 1 and 4 can use. A to E nobody can use. So therefore, team 2 के पास A से टीम 3 अगर वो A से D गया है, it has to go through C. It can't go through E. A to E, only person or only team that can travel are one and four. So A must have taken C. Let me, so A to C, C to D, D to E. अभी 10:30 वो D से E आ चुका है, टीम 3. नाउ अभी E से वो कहां जाएगा? रिमेंबर 12 बजे उसको वापस A पहुंचना है. तो वन पॉसिबिलिटी इज F गया और वो E टू A ट्रेवल नहीं करेगा. तो अगर E से उसको A जाना है तो इट हैज टू गो थ्रू DC ओनली. देयर इज नो अदर वे. अगर वो 10:30 E पे है और E से वो A जा नहीं सकता, द EA रूट इज प्रोहिबिटेड. अगर E से F चला गया तो उसको F से फिर A ही जाना पड़ेगा, and he can't reach A at 11:30. So the only way E can reach from 10:30 team 3, the only way team 3 can reach from E to A is through D and C. So therefore E to D will be 10:30 to 11, D to C will be 11 to 11:30, and the last movement C to A will be 11:30 to 12. So team 3 will be a very simple movement, C D E C D D C. Now team 4 अगर अपने देखते हैं, टीम 4 तो B में जाएगा नहीं, D में जाएगा नहीं, F में जाएगा नहीं. तो टीम 4 का मूवमेंट विल बी ओनली दीज रूट्स. अभी 9 से 9:30 बजे में A से C टीम 3 गया है, तो टीम 4 के पास A to C का तो ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. तो टीम 4 को E ही जाना पड़ेगा. देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन. अभी E से वापस उसको A ही आना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज E से डायरेक्ट टू C जा नहीं सकता. ओके, नाउ रिमेंबर 10 बजे वो A पे है, 11:30 बजे E पे है. So the one possibility is he goes to C at 10:30, comes back to A at 11, goes to 11:30 E and then 12 E. The other option, यहां C में नहीं जाके अगर वो यहां E जाता, बट रिमेंबर यहां लिखा हुआ है 10:30 में टीम्स 1 and 3 आर द ओनली वंस एट E at 10:30. इसके मतलब 10:30 में यहां पे E नहीं आ सकता है. अगर E नहीं आ सकता है तो 4 के पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, उसको C ही जाना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज वो C, E और A में ही ऑसिलेट करेगा. देयर इज नो अदर स्टेशन फॉर टीम 4. सो टीम 4 इज नाउ फिल्ड अप. नाउ वी कैन नाउ लुक एट टीम 1 और टीम 2. अभी देखते हैं, टीम 1 is allowed on all the routes, team 2 is not allowed from A to C or A to E. तो अब अगर A to E, A to C जा सकता है. तो अभी टीम 2 9 बजे A पे है, 10 बजे E पे है. So the only way that is possible is through F. There is no other way. तो A to F, F to E आ गया. अभी E से कहां जाएगा? E से it can remember DE route is ruled out. So E से वो D नहीं जा सकता है. E से वो F जा सकता है, पॉसिबल है. E से A भी वो नहीं जा सकता है, बिकॉज टीम 2 को E to A अलाउड नहीं है. So remember it is at E. E से 3 ही पॉसिबिलिटी है, A, F और D. EA is ruled out. ED is ruled out because team 3 is traveling from D to E. Therefore, E से only place team 2 can go will be F. Now, अगर 10:30 बजे वो F पे आ जाता है, F से वो कहां जा सकता है? या फिर ये तो A या E. तो 11:30 का कोई कंडीशन था अपने पास? 11 बजे का कोई कंडीशन अपने पास नहीं था। ओके, ठीक है। सो एफ से यू कैन ईदर गो टू ए और ई। सो हियर वी आर नॉट गेटिंग अ पॉसिबिलिटी, सो वी लेट्स से दोनों केस लेते हैं, ए भी जा सकता है, वो ई भी जा सकता है एफ से। अगर एफ से ए चला गया तो उसके पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, सी जाके वापस आना पड़ेगा ए, बिकॉज रिमेंबर ए टू ई तो जा ही नहीं सकता है। बट वाई नॉट ए टू बी? ए टू बी वी विल सी, वी विल कम टू दैट। सो ए से वो बी भी जा सकता था या सी भी जा सकता था। ओके, तो पुट ए बी भी रखते हैं यहां पे। अच्छा, वो अगर ई आ गया 11 बजे, तो ई से ए जाने का एक ही रूट है, एफ। ये अभी बहुत सारा पॉसिबिलिटी आ रहा है, एक बार होल्ड करते हैं इसको। लेट अस कम टू टीम 1 फर्स्ट। अभी टीम 1 के पास क्या ऑप्शन है? ए से एफ टीम 2 जा रहा है, ए से सी टीम 3 जा रहा है, ए से ई टीम 4 जा रहा है। तो टीम 1 के पास बी के अलावा कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, बिकॉज ओनली वन टीम कैन गो टू वन रूट। अभी बी के पास वंस यू रीच बी देयर इज नो अदर वे बट टू कम बैक टू ए ओनली। सो 10 o'clock ए आ गया, 10:30 ए से वो ई चला गया। अभी वो 10:30 में ई पे है, ई से यानी क्लियर, अगर वो 10:30 में ई पे है और 11:30 में बी पे है, तो ओनली वे इट इज पॉसिबल इज थ्रू ए। सो मोमेंट आई हैव 10:30 to 11 ई टू ए, अब ई टू ए भी खत्म हो गया, तो अभी यहां एफ से, यहां पे मैं ए या ई दोनों में ही आ सकता हूं, ये तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। बट 11:30 जो ये 3 ऑप्शन यहां आ रहा था, लेट अस एनालाइज दैट। अभी 11 to 11:30 ए टू बी टीम 1 है, तो ए से बी तो आ ही नहीं सकता है टीम 2। अच्छा, ए से सी जाके ए आ सकता है, वो एक पॉसिबिलिटी है। अच्छा, ई से बट यहां पे 11:30 का भी एक अपने पास कंडीशन था, दैट 1 and 4 आर द ओनली वंस इन स्टेशंस बी एंड ई। मतलब ई पे और कोई नहीं हो सकता है 11:30 पे। वो तो ठीक है। अच्छा, फाइन। सो नाउ ई एफ ए इज पॉसिबल, ए एफ ए इज ऑल्सो पॉसिबल। हाउ डू आई रूल ए टू सी? Now A to C, is it being used anywhere? Team 2 cannot travel A to E, that's okay. But A to C, let us try to see if that is possible. At 11:30, okay. 11:30 to 12, you see, Team 3 is traveling from C to A. So Team 2 cannot travel from C to A at 11:30. That means this is ruled out. Remember 12 हर आदमी A पे है, इसके मतलब 11:30 में all the 4 destinations must be different. At 9:30 all 4 must be different. This is a very important point. 9:30 में सब अलग अलग होना चाहिए, 11:30 में भी सब अलग अलग होना चाहिए। तो अगर टीम 3 का C था तो टीम 2 का C नहीं आएगा। So only place where there are 2 possibility is at 11 o'clock for team 2. अब अगर हम क्वेश्चंस को देखें यहां पे, all the questions are direct. So abhi, though the solution might not have looked very simple, but if you look at the questions here, since all of them are direct, I think it was a perhaps a doable question. But इसमें conditions का आपको ध्यान रखना था that A to E only 1 and 4 can travel, and the easiest thing here was team 4 because team 4 could not go to 3 stations B, D and F. तो इसमें important is how to start. तो अगर आप 3, 4 को पहले भर लेंगे, then 1 and 2 will not be very difficult to fill up. I am not getting the questions. Let's now move to set 1. Now, set 1 is not difficult, but a lot of data involved. So, one has to be patient enough to draw a big table like this and then fill in the table. यहाँ पे window AC है, split AC है, और window में भी inverter और non-inverter है. So, there are 4 categories here actually. Window inverter, window non-inverter, split inverter, and split not inverter. And there are 4 dealers, D1, D2, D3, D4. So, this is a very data-oriented set. आप जितना easily data भर पाओगे, the question can be simply answered. Do we have any questions? No, we don't. Okay. It is known that AC sold, out of the total number of AC sold, 25% were window and the rest was split. And total, there were how many ACs? One moment. We will come to that. Okay. Among the inverter ACs sold, 20% were of window. These percentages need to be kept in mind. Every dealer sold at least 2 window AC. तो 2 से कम टोटल कोई भी विंडो में नहीं आएगा. D1 sold 13 inverter ACs. So D1 sold 13 inverter. मतलब यहां पे ओवरऑल 13 होगा. स्प्लिट और विंडो का ब्रेकअप we will see later. D3 sold 5 non-inverter ACs. ये 5 होगा. A total of 6 window non-inverter ACs and 36 split inverter ACs was sold. Okay. So total of 6 window non-inverter. So this is 6. Be very careful of the point. The data point कहाँ भर रहे हैं आप? 36 split inverter. ये 36 होगा. The number of split ACs sold by D1 was twice the number of window ACs sold by it. So अगर window X है, तो D1 का split will be 2x, which means D1 का total will be 3x. One moment, please. Okay, x 2x 3x हो गया. D3 and D4 sold an equal number of window ACs. D3, D4 का दोनों windows equal है, and this number was 1/3 of the number of similar ACs sold by D2. So D2 will be 3y. Okay. First, fill up entire data. Use as many variables as you want. Later on, you will see everything will solve very easily. D3 and D4 sold an equal number of split inverter. D3 and D4. Split inverter is equal. Let's put it at Z. The number of half the number of similar AC sold by D2. तो ये हो गया 2Z. Okay, we got this number. अभी हम लोग यहां पे देखते हैं ऊपर में परसेंटेज क्या दिया था. Among the inverter AC sold, 20% were window. I know 36 split inverter have been sold. So 36 is 80%. That is clear. So if 80% is 36, then 20% will become 9. That means 9 inverter windows have been sold, which means total inverter is 15. Total window is 15, sorry. And 25% were window. That means 75% will be split. So if 25% represents 15, 75% will represent 45. That means total is 60. In split is 45, window is 15. Among split, if 45 is total, 36 is inverter, that means 9 will be non-inverter. So inverter total कितने बिक्री हुए? 9 plus 36, that's 45. And non-inverter is 6 plus 9, that's 15. So total columns can easily get filled up. Okay. अब look at the figure here. 15 है ये. Sorry. Now D1 is X, D2 3Y, D3 Y, D4 Y. अब देखिए, अगर Y को 1 लेते हैं, लेट्स से, तो ये हो जाएगा 1, और यहां पे क्या लिख रहा है कि मिनिमम 2 विंडो हर आदमी ने बेचा है, एटलीस्ट 2 विंडो. तो Y तो 2 से कम हो ही नहीं सकता. Y अगर 3 हो गया तो X 0 हो जाएगा, which is not possible. That means the only value possible for Y is 2 each. 3Y will become 6. 6 plus 2 plus 2 is 10, which means X is 5. Which means 2X is 10 and 3X is 15. So D1 का total sale is 15 यूनिट, उसमें 13 इन्वर्टर दिया हुआ था, मतलब नॉन इन्वर्टर इज 2. That is clear now. Now what else can we get it here? Now in inverter split is Z, Z, 2Z. And this value for D1 the total is 13. I don't know the breakup between split and window. Okay. So what other data can we easily fit in now? Non-inverter is 6 total. Okay. One moment, please. Okay, if you look at second point, it says D1 sold 13 inverter ACs, while D3 sold 5 non-inverter ACs. Okay, we have got that number here. 5 non-inverter hai. Okay. Let's quickly go to the data again once moment. Total of 6 window non-inverter ACs was split. 36 split inverter ACs were sold. Number of split ACs sold by D1 was twice that of ACs, window ACs sold. We have got that. Okay. D3, D4 sold equal number of window ACs. We've got 2 each. This was 1/3 of AC sold by D2. That is 6. We got that. D2 and D3 were the only ones. Oh, we forgot this word only here. Yeah. D2 and D3 were the only ones who sold window non-inverter. That means D1 will become 0 here. D4 will become 0. D2 and D3 were the only ones who sold window. Oh, sorry, not inverter. I'm so sorry. Who sold window non-inverter. That means D1 will become 0 here and D4 will become 0 here. That thing we missed out. So अगर ये 0 होगा तो ये 5 होगा because total is 5. Remember, total is inverter plus non-inverter. Similarly, this will become 2 here. Okay. Now this number is 6 and this number is 2. Rest of it is clear now. अब ये अगर 5 है तो ये 8 हो गया. ओके 13 इन्वर्ट नॉन इन्वर्टर है तो ये 2 हो गया. जस्ट फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स नाउ. 2z plus z 4z is 28. That means z must be 7. So this is 7 very clearly. This is then 14. अभी overall non-inverter for D3 is 5. Okay, we have got 2 as window, so that is non-inverter is 5. Fine. So we have got this number. Now this is 9. So यहाँ पे what can we have here? 1 data is missing here. Inverter is 1477 we have got. So for D2 and D3 were the only ones who sold window non-inverter ACs. Okay, twice number दिया हुआ है ना. D2 was twice the number this is sold by D3. Oh, that's clear. ये 2 होगा. Sorry, ये 4 होगा. D2 is twice that of D3. So ये 2 होगा. Okay, and therefore this will become 2. This will become 0. Now this in non-inverter is 5, which is 2 here. This will become 3. This becomes 10. So this is 13. It's self-fulfill now. Very clearly you can fill up now. Sorry. 7. I'm so sorry. This is 12 here. Okay. So now let's come to the questions. Most probably we will be able to solve questions here. Let's look at it. How many split inverters ACs did D2 sell? That's 14 we got here. Answer. Second question. What percentage of AC sold were of non-inverter type? So non-inverter is 15 out of 60. That's 1/4. 25%. What were the total number of AC sold by D2 and D4? So now if you see D1 is 15 we know, D3 is 12 we know, that's 27, which means 33 will be sold by D2 and D4. We have not got the individual values of D2 and D4, but some we can get. Now if you look at question 5, the moment they say if D3 and D4 something they are putting in here, that means there is some data which will be unfulfilled. So यहाँ पे आपका कुछ data fill नहीं होगा. Window वाला part पूरा clear हो जाएगा. Split वाला में certain data will become incomplete. That for example, the non-inverter variety will not be completed here. And that also will mean that this data is also slightly incomplete. D2, D4 का data थोड़ा नहीं भर पाएंगे. So as we saw, too much of data here and that too the table did not completely fill up. So one of those questions which perhaps in the exam not to be attempted. But if you look at set 2, was absolutely manageable. Set 3, though a little bit tricky in terms of the roots, but perhaps was manageable. But I still feel set 4, though there was data involved, the weightage had to be calculated, but should have been done. So set 2 and 4 अगर हम लोग कर लेते हैं, we should have been safely enough. And this was one of those most difficult LRDI cases which had come in CAT for the last 9-10 years. Then we would have been able to get through this. Okay. So any questions if you guys have, I can take them. I am through with whatever I had to. Any questions specific? If you have a doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm still available for any further doubts if you have. We have 2 minutes to go. So, any questions, guys? You can just quickly post on in the chat box if you have. Yeah. Any questions? I can't see anything coming up. That's it then. I don't think we have any questions. Thanks a lot. I hope session was useful and you could understand the way to go about solving this. Remember, in LRDI, it's very important not to panic. Spend first 5 minutes going through all the 4 or 5 cases and understanding that which particular cases I need to start with first. Okay. Also, a look at the questions might help you understand that which cases should be easier. Direct, straightforward questions without any ambiguity is better. Do not go by this thought that if it's a non-MCQ, it will be necessarily tougher. Okay, because we have seen usually questions with without options, rather the theta questions sometimes come out to be more simpler. Just our mental block that we feel that if there will be options, it will make life easier for me. ऐसा कुछ जरूरी नहीं है. So that is important. And do not get too worried if 1 or 2 cases you have tried and it doesn't work out for you. Remember, have patience. Don't rush. 40 minutes है, हमको 4 केस करना है, 5 केस करना है. Usually we tend to make the mistake of trying to rush some things. Don't do that. Have patience. One case also done very well, complete piece. अगर आपके 5 questions right हो गए, 15 marks आ गए, you are way above the required sectional cutoff. So don't worry about it. Of course, we need to target at least 2 cases in the exam. But what I'm saying, worst to worst, अगर difficult section आता है और आप बार बार एक से एक घूमते जाएंगे, you might end up in a situation where you don't even attempt one case completely. Don't make that mistake. Wherever you feel comfort is happening, 5-7 मिनट लगा के मुझे लग रहा है हो जाएगा, और 5 मिनट लगाइए और 10 मिनट लगाइए, बट केस को कंप्लीट करिए. ओके, and don't start with those sets where there are multiple answers or if then else, more data coming in, looking that there can be multiple possibilities. Thank you. I think I'll take a leave. The next speaker, Neha, I believe somebody's there.
Hello, thank you, Nikunj sir.
Bye-bye.
So let me start, let me take over. So basically, now we are going to start the QA part. Just give me 2 minutes and then I'll start. Now, till then, let me talk about the quant part of 2023. How do you feel about it? So I think everyone must have seen the QA part of CAT 2023. So what is your feeling? Have you seen 24, 25, 23, 22? So what is your feeling about 2020? I would say 2023. So any idea? Any guess? So when I went to write 2023 CAT paper, when my center was in Kanpur, and in my center there were a lot of people from IIT Kanpur. The paper was done, so I was done with the paper. I talked to a few people, and I realized that those people were not happy with the quant section generally, and majority people in my center were from IIT Kanpur, and the things were not that good for them as well. So it was actually, I would say, a little difficult. So now let's start. Let's see. Hmm. Any opinion about anything? Hmm. So let's start. So basically, this is the pattern that everyone must have talked about now. This is the scenario 2025. This is the scenario of CAT 2025. 99.5 percentile we had at score of 31 marks. That is net 11 questions correct. Now, if I'm going to compare this with every year, now if you are going to see, now when I say CAT was actually difficult, what you are going to see in the data, 2023 was the toughest quant section throughout the years. And that's what the data tells us. Look at this. This is 28.5. Every year it is above 30. This is 25. This is 17.5. This is 13.5. So if you are writing at 2023, the people cleared the cutoff of 85 percentile at a score of 12 marks. So I would say that was the difficult paper, and the benefit of the difficult paper is even if you are solving less number of questions, still then you are doing a great job. You are able to clear the cutoff. And in 2023, the best part, I have seen the people who have done extremely well in the section of VA, they have cleared, they got 99.5 or something percent, right? So now, again, the bifurcation, everyone knows about the bifurcation. We have been talking about it consistently since a long time, that arithmetic and algebra always carries the highest weightage, and that is going to be close to, if I'm going to take both of them together, then it is going to be approximately 70% every year. So you are going to get 15, 16 questions from arithmetic and algebra itself. So I hope I'm clear. Yes or no? So yes. So everyone understood what I'm trying to say, and if you understood, just say yes, no, or whatever you want to ask a question. Just say nah, hello, or anything would be fine. Hmm. Okay. So basically, this is the, again, 2020 to 2025, this is the weightage topic wise, that what is the weightage we have of time, speed, distance, time and work, profit and loss, average. So basically, what is 5% of 22? That is going to be 1.1. So basically, time, speed and distance had on an average 1.5 questions. Time and work on an average has 1.2 questions per paper. Profit and loss has close to 1, so means it might be missing somewhere. Average is close to 1. Mixture is again going to have been asked close to 1 time. Ratio is again 1 time. SICI, simple interest, if SICI and percentage, if I combine both of them, I am going to get an average of 1.5, 1.6 questions per paper. And this is what has been happening. So in every slot, every paper, every slot, you are going to get at least one question of this, 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 and at least one question of this, as well as at least one question of this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 questions are set if you are writing CAT and arithmetic part is going to cover 7 questions at least. In some cases, there is going to be less than it, but in most of the cases, it is at least 1. Again, if I'm going to talk about quadratic equation, we are going to have close to 1.2 questions. Here again, I'm going to say 1.2, 1.3 questions close to. Log is close to 1, function is close to 1, linear equation is close to 1, inequality is going to be 0.5. Sometimes you are going to get inequality, sometimes not. Special equation is going to be, again, I would say 0.25. Algebraical identity is 0.25. Higher order is again 0.25 times. So मतलब इसका एक क्वेश्चन आएगा ही आएगा, इसका एक क्वेश्चन आएगा ही आएगा, इसका एक क्वेश्चन आएगा ही आएगा, इसका एक आएगा, इसका एक आएगा, मतलब 5 क्वेश्चन इसके भी फिक्स है. सो फंक्शन, लॉग, सीक्वेंस सीरीज, क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन, लीनियर इक्वेशन, ये क्वेश्चन की जो बात कर रहे हैं ये डेफिनेटली फिक्स है एवरी ईयर. So 7 from arithmetic, 5 from algebra, 12 questions are fixed. And this is what the data is telling us. Now from the other topics, if you are going to see, the weightage is not very much. If you are going to see number system, number theory, we are talking about the whole module. There are going to be a lot of topics. And the best part is probability has 0 questions. There has not been a single question that has been from probability and that has been asked. So let's continue and see, and in 2023, what is the score versus percentile? 100 percentile, if I am going to see, so basically 100 percentile, I am going to get a score of 40, and that is close to 40. Now that is actually very low, because if I am going to talk about other years, 24, 22, the 100 percentile has always been at greater than 60. But this time it has came down to 40 marks only. So think how difficult paper it was. But whether we could solve some question in the exam, that's what we are here to figure out. Can we get 90 or 95 percentile even if we have very difficult paper? So can we do it? अपना टारगेट ये है कि क्या हम इतना कर सकते हैं या नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है. Now let me start. Let's see. So first question is easy, and we will come back to that. If you look at this, the first question was easy, accuracy is high, but if you look, attempts are low. Here, this question number 11, attempts are high and accuracy is also high. Again, this question, attempts are high, accuracy is high, attempts are high, accuracy is high, attempts are decent, accuracy is high. So basically ये 4 क्वेश्चन तो एग्जाम में करने ही चाहिए, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट 2-3 और क्वेश्चन कर लो तो मतलब वी आर गोइंग टू गेट 18 नंबर. 18 नंबर हमको कहाँ पे पहुंचाएंगे? इसमें 18 नंबर पे हम 95 परसेंटाइल पे खड़े होंगे टोटल मिला के 6 क्वेश्चन करने पे. So basically we are going to figure out those 6 questions के कैसे 95 क्वेश्चन पहुंचना है हमको. Now again, we have 3 QA strategies, round 1 strategy, round 2 strategy, round 2 3 strategy. Round 1 में क्या करते हैं? Can someone tell me what is round 1? What is round 1? Round 1 का मतलब आपने क्वेश्चन पढ़ा, आपको समझ में आया, आपने मार्क किया, सॉल्व किया, देन इन देयर मार्क किया, मूव ऑन. सो मतलब एक ऐसा क्वेश्चन जो आपको लगता है कि 1 से 2-2.5 मिनट में हो जाएगा, तो वो क्वेश्चन अपना राउंड 1 करें. ऐसा क्वेश्चन जहां पे आपको लगता है कि आपको आता है बट इट इज गोइंग टू टेक समवेयर अराउंड 3 to 5 minutes, then that question is going to go to round 2. मैंने पढ़ लिया, मैंने समझ लिया, शायद मुझसे होगा या होगा तो बहुत टाइम लेगा, that is going to be round 2. राउंड 3 का मतलब जब मैं सब राउंड 1, राउंड 2, राउंड 3, राउंड 1, राउंड 2 खत्म कर लूंगा, तब जो बचेगा वो राउंड 3 होगा. मोर और लेस इसमें जो क्वेश्चन होते हैं वो आते ही नहीं है. सो इसमें 5-6 क्वेश्चन राउंड 3 में हमेशा 5-6 क्वेश्चन होंगे जो खुद से नहीं होंगे. ठीक है, तो उनको छोड़ देते हैं. 15-16 क्वेश्चन पे अपन टारगेट करते हैं जनरली. चलिए, ठीक है. हाउ टू अटेम्प्ट, ये सारी चीजें ठीक है. आते हैं पेपर. नाउ दिस वन, द अटेम्प्ट इज 60%, एक्यूरेसी 70%. नाउ I am not going to do anything. I am going to ask you whether it is a round 1 question or round 2 question or round 3 question. ये क्वेश्चन क्या करना चाहिए, इसमें एक्यूरेसी बहुत हाई है, अटेम्प्ट केवल 16% है। अब ये क्वेश्चन हम देख रहे हैं तो हमें ये समझना है क्या ये हमें करना चाहिए, इज इट अराउंड 1 क्वेश्चन और अराउंड 2 क्वेश्चन और अराउंड 3 क्वेश्चन। दिस इज माय सिंपल क्वेश्चन। व्हाट डू यू थिंक शुड वी डू? I'm asking you. I'm not getting the answer. 3 नंबर्स हैं एपी में, तो क्या करेंगे? Should not attempt. Okay. Rashmi is saying round 2. Very nice. So you have read the question. सो बेसिकली यहाँ पे एक बेसिक कंसेप्ट है कि अगर मैं यहाँ पे ये देखूं 3 नंबर्स एपी में है, ए बी सी आर इन एपी, देन द अंडरलाइन कंसेप्ट इज 2b इज इक्वल टू a प्लस सी। एवरीवन एग्रीज विद इट? हाँ है ना? लॉग का क्वेश्चन है तो स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है, हाँ है ना? लेकिन इतने गंदे नंबर लिखे हुए हैं तो ये राउंड 1 का तो नहीं हो सकता। मैं करूंगा, मुझे 3 से 4 मिनट, 4 से 5 मिनट तो लगेगा ही लगेगा। आई एम गोइंग टू लीव इट फॉर लेटर, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डू इट राइट नाउ। अंडरलाइन प्रिंसिपल आई अंडरस्टूड, आई हैव रेड द क्वेश्चन, आई अंडरस्टूड द अंडरलाइन प्रिंसिपल कैसे होगा। लेकिन एंड में अगर मेरे पास टाइम बचेगा तो मैं इस क्वेश्चन पे आऊंगा, तब इसको करूंगा, अभी नहीं करूंगा। ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन आते हैं इस पे। For some of the real numbers a and b, the system x plus y equal to 4 and a plus 5 times x plus b square minus 15 has infinitely many roots. Now the maximum possible value of ab. अब क्या इस क्वेश्चन पे हमें क्या करना है? हमको ये राउंड 1 में लेना चाहिए या राउंड 2 में लेना चाहिए या राउंड 3 में लेना चाहिए? पहले पढ़ लो, 10 से 20 सेकेंड दो सोचने में, क्योंकि एग्जाम में आपके पास इतना टाइम नहीं होता कि आप 2 मिनट सोच के ये डिसाइड करो इट इज राउंड 1 और राउंड 2। सो आप पढ़ो और डिसाइड करो कि इट इज गोइंग टू बी राउंड 1 और राउंड 2 और राउंड 3। अब तक क्या करना चाहिए इस पे हमें? इनफाइनाइटली मेनी सॉल्यूशंस फॉर एक्स एंड वाई। What is the maximum possible value of AB? So it should be done in round 1 or round 2. So अगर मैं इसको करूंगा तो आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट द क्वेश्चन। सो बेसिकली द अंडरलाइंग प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इट इज a1x plus b1y and that is equal to c1 and a2x plus b2y and that is equal to c2. So infinite मैनी की कंडीशन क्या होगी? a1 upon a2 is equal to b1 upon b2 is equal to c1 upon c2. अब देखो यहाँ पे अगर मैं अब यहाँ पे क्या करूंगा, आई एम गोइंग टू स्टार्ट द क्वेश्चन। सो कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ x इज 1, a2 इज a plus 5। अगर मैं बीच में अटक गया तो मैं इसको छोड़ दूंगा, 1 अपॉन बी स्क्वायर माइनस 15 एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू 4 अपॉन 8b। ठीक है, ये आ गया 2। दिस इज 1 बाई बी। ठीक है, अब मैं इसको और इसको ले रहा हूं तो यहां से सीधे सीधे मेरा आ जाएगा b इज इक्वल टू a प्लस 5। उसके बाद मैं इसको और इसको ले रहा हूं तो मेरा आ जाएगा b इज इक्वल टू बी स्क्वायर माइनस 15। तो यहां से मुझे क्या मिलेगा? बी स्क्वायर माइनस बी माइनस 15 एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू 0। हाय ना? सो बेसिकली अगर मैं इसको सॉल्व करूंगा तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा? अगर मैं इसको सॉल्व करूं तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा, बी स्क्वायर माइनस बी, सॉरी, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 2b, आई मेड अ मिस्टेक ओवर हियर, सो दैट इज 2b। सो अगर मैं इसको सॉल्व करूंगा तो मुझे क्या मिलेगा, b माइनस 5, b माइनस 3 and sorry, b plus 3, and that is equal to 0. So b is either going to be 5 or b is going to be minus 3. Did I do it right? 5 और माइनस 3, ठीक है। अब b की वैल्यू अगर 5 है तो a की वैल्यू क्या है, सॉरी मैंने अगेन यहाँ पे आई मेड अ मिस्टेक अगेन, सो 2b इज इक्वल टू a प्लस 5, सो 2b इज इक्वल टू 10 एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू a प्लस 5। तो यहां से a की वैल्यू क्या हो गई, a की वैल्यू हो गई 5। सो इट मींस इफ b इज 5, a इज आल्सो 5। अगर मैं b को माइनस 3 दे दूं, सो इट इज b इज माइनस 3, सो 2b इज इक्वल टू माइनस 6 and in that case a is going to be minus 11. So a into b is 25, a into b is 33, answer comes out to be option b. Now it should be done, should it be a round 1 question or a round 2 question? देखो, अगर मैं यहाँ पे अटकने के बाद यहाँ तक फंस जाता या फिर इस इक्वेशन के बाद मुझे समझ में आना बंद हो जाता, then I would have moved this question to round 3, not round 2. लेकिन ये हो गया 1.5-2 मिनट 2.5 मिनट का क्वेश्चन है, आराम से सॉल्व हो जाएगा। सो ये क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में करना चाहिए और ये बहुत स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन, ठीक है ना? नहीं, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक बात हमको ध्यान रखना है कि जब हम a की वैल्यू को डिफाइन कर रहे हैं तो a की वैल्यू हमेशा b के रिस्पेक्ट में आ रही है। a 5 नहीं है, a 5 तब है जब b 5 है। जब b minus 3 है, then a is minus 11. So always remember, when you are writing the values, always write it like this. Otherwise, you will end up confusing with the values. Got it? ये वाला क्वेश्चन कैसे करेंगे? Now, can I solve this question very quickly? So, my question is whether this question is a round 1 question or a round 2 question or a round 3 question. That is the first thing. मैं नहीं कर रहा हूं, आप लोगों को बताना है ये राउंड 1 है, राउंड 2 है, राउंड 3, जल्दी बताओ। देखो, Shivam is saying round 2. Anyone else who is saying something? राउंड 2, ठीक है। देखो, ये क्वेश्चन जो है मैं राउंड 2 में नहीं करूंगा, मैं राउंड 1 में करूंगा। राउंड 1 में क्यों करूंगा? बिकॉज यू थिंक यू आर गोइंग टू ओपन यू आर गोइंग टू सॉल्व दिस इक्वेशन। मैं कर ही नहीं रहा हूं, मैं इसको नेग्लेक्ट ही कर दूंगा। क्यों नेग्लेक्ट कर दूंगा? क्योंकि अगर x पावर 8 मेरा 50 है तो 1 अपॉन x पावर 8 कितना होगा? दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 1 अपॉन 50। क्या ये समेशन में डिफरेंस डालेगा? नहीं डालेगा, तो इग्नोर कर दो, इसको भी इग्नोर कर दो। x पावर 8 इज 47, अब मुझे x पावर 9 की वैल्यू चाहिए। अब ये मैं जल्दी कैसे करूंगा? तो एक बात ध्यान रखिएगा, ये क्वेश्चन करने का जो तरीका है वो हमको स्क्वायर रूट लेके ही करना है और कैलकुलेटर यूज करना है। सो कैलकुलेटर से कैसे करेंगे? सो सीधे सीधे 47 का स्क्वायर रूट, जस्ट टेक आउट योर कैलकुलेटर्स एंड टेल मी व्हाट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ 47, जल्दी बताओ। Square root of 47, what is it? कितना आएगा? दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 6.8। 6.8 का स्क्वायर रूट क्या आएगा? 2.6। 2.6 का स्क्वायर रूट क्या आएगा? 1.6। ठीक है, 1.6 का क्यूब क्या होगा? ठीक है, अब मुझे ये पता है कि x पावर 8 इज 47, तो x पावर 9 क्या होगा? 47 इंटू 1.6 कितना आएगा, जल्दी बताओ। 76। ठीक है, अब मुझे ये देखना है कि कौन सा ऑप्शन मुझे वैल्यू 76 दे रहा है। कौन सा ऑप्शन इन चारों में से, कौन सा ऑप्शन मुझे वैल्यू 76 दे रहा हो, 75.2 जो भी आया। ठीक है, कौन सा ऑप्शन मुझे इनमें से, कौन सा ऑप्शन 40 इंटू 2 ये तो नहीं देगा पक्का, क्योंकि रूट ऑफ 5 इज 2.2 के आसपास होता है, राइट? सो मोर लाइकली द आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी ऑप्शन 3। मैं कैलकुलेटर यूज नहीं किया हूं, मैं अप्रोक्सीमेशन पे चल रहा हूं, लेकिन आप एक बार चेक करके बोलो आंसर 34 रूट 2 रूट 5 आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है? यस, नो? क्या ये क्वेश्चन हमें राउंड 1 में करना चाहिए या राउंड 2 में करना चाहिए? मेरा क्वेश्चन ये, अंडरस्टूड ना? So basically, whenever you are going to see these kind of questions, always take this approach to solve and get. So basically, we have completed 2 questions till now. Now let's look at this one. अगेन जल्दी जल्दी बताओ, राउंड 1 है, राउंड 2 है, राउंड 1 है, ओके। n and mb2 positive integers such that exactly 41 integers greater than 8 power n and less than 8 power n, which can be expressed as to what is the smallest value of n plus n। ठीक है, अब बताओ कैसे करेंगे? कैसे करेंगे? राउंड 1 तो है, कैसे करेंगे और आंसर क्या होगा? 8 पावर m से बड़ा और 8 पावर n से छोटा कितनी पावर है? 2 पावर k है, ठीक है। सो 2 पावर k की कितनी वैल्यूज हो सकती है? 41। ठीक है, m की स्मॉलेस्ट वैल्यू क्या हो सकती है? 1 हो सकती है, ठीक है। n की स्मॉलेस्ट वैल्यू क्या हो सकती है? सॉरी, यहाँ पे ये गलती कर दी मैंने, यहाँ पे ये है और ये है, तो इसका मतलब मुझे यहाँ पे ये लिखना होगा। यही गलतियां मुझसे हो जाती हैं एग्जाम में, जो मुझे ध्यान देना पड़ेगा। दिस इज 3 पावर 2 पावर 3n। ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे 2 पावर के, अब यहाँ पे 41 नंबर्स हैं। कितने नंबर्स हैं? 41 नंबर्स हैं 3m से 3n के बीच में। ठीक है, सो अगर मैं m को 1 दे दूं तो 2 पावर 3, तो यहां पे कम से कम 41 नंबर लाने के लिए यहां पे वैल्यू क्या होनी चाहिए? अगर मैं यहां पे 41 नंबर्स का मतलब क्या है? 43 में 41 ऐड करोगे 44, तो यहां पे 45 होना चाहिए, हाँ या ना? सो 3n की जो वैल्यू होनी चाहिए वो 45 होनी चाहिए, मतलब n की वैल्यू क्या होनी चाहिए? 15 होनी चाहिए। m की वैल्यू क्या होनी चाहिए? 1 होनी चाहिए। m प्लस n की मिनिमम वैल्यू क्या होनी चाहिए? दैट इज 16, दैट इज ऑप्शन ए। अंडरस्टूड, हाँ या ना? तो क्या ये क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में किया जा सकता था? हाँ या ना? आई एम मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, दिस वन। Quadratic equation है x square plus bx plus c equal to 0 has two real roots if the difference between reciprocals is 1 upon 3 and sum of the reciprocals of the squares of the roots is 5 by 9. What is the largest possible value of this? Now tell me whether it is a round 1 question or round 2 question or round 3 question. जल्दी बताओ ये किस कैटेगरी का क्वेश्चन है, राउंड 1 है, राउंड 2 है, राउंड 3 है? दो रियल रूट हैं and the difference between reciprocals of roots, that is 1 by alpha minus 1 by beta, and that is equal to 1 upon 3. ठीक है, and sum of reciprocals of the squares of the roots, मतलब 1 by alpha square plus 1 by beta square is equal to 5 by 9. और मुझे यहाँ पे क्या गिवन है, अल्फा प्लस बीटा सम ऑफ रूट्स इज व्हाट, माइनस बी, एंड अल्फा बीटा दैट इज इक्वल टू सी. अब मुझे यहां से ये पता चल रहा है बीटा माइनस अल्फा अपॉन अल्फा बीटा एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू 1 अपॉन 3. और यहां से मुझे ये पता चल रहा है अल्फा स्क्वायर प्लस बीटा स्क्वायर अपॉन अल्फा स्क्वायर बीटा स्क्वायर एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू 5 by 9. अब इसके बाद अगर आपको सॉल्व करना है, इतना करने के बाद मैं इसको मोर लाइकली छोड़ दूं. ठीक है, मोर लाइकली छोड़ने का रीजन क्या है, क्योंकि इट इज गोइंग टू टेक अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, क्योंकि मुझे पहले इसको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, इसको सॉल्व करना पड़ेगा, बी और सी के बीच में रिलेशन लाना पड़ेगा, और फिर मुझे उसको मैक्सिमाइज करना पड़ेगा. देन आई एम गोइंग टू गो फॉर राउंड 2, लेकिन ये डेफिनेटली राउंड 3 नहीं है. अंडरस्टूड? लेकिन बिफोर मूविंग टू बिफोर डिसाइडिंग वेदर इट इज अ राउंड 1 क्वेश्चन और राउंड 2 क्वेश्चन, आई एम गोइंग टू राइट दिस मच डाउन. अंडरस्टूड? दिस वन, एक नंबर है, उसके 15 फैक्टर है. ठीक है, तो नंबर क्या होगा? क्या आप लोगों ने रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन पढ़ा है? डू यू नो व्हाट इज रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन? So basically, if you have studied reverse factorization, then what you are going to do, that number of factors is given by power plus 1 if n is defined as a power x, b power y, c power z, and so on. The number of factors are given by x plus 1 into y plus 1 into z plus 1 and so on. अगर नंबर ऑफ फैक्टर 15 है तो मैं इसको सिंपली 14 plus 1 लिख सकता हूं. अगर नंबर ऑफ फैक्टर 15 है तो मैं इसको क्या लिख सकता हूं, 2 plus 1 into 4 plus 1 लिख सकता हूं. इसका मतलब यहाँ पे जो नंबर का फॉर्मेट होगा वो प्राइम की पावर 14 भी हो सकता है और वो प्राइम स्क्वायर सेकेंड प्राइम की पावर 4 हो सकता है. सो बेसिकली यहाँ पे ये चीज आपको रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन वाली चीज पता होनी चाहिए. नाउ I am looking for two smallest numbers. So if I am looking for two smallest number, so I want the smallest prime numbers. What are smallest prime numbers? I am going to say number is 2 power 4, 3 square. That is one possibility. Second possibility, I would say that is, and now यहाँ पे risky scenario है, 2 power 4, 5 square. That can be a number. It can also be 3 power 4 into 2 square, that can also be number. लेकिन हमें यहाँ पे चेक करना पड़ेगा कि दोनों में से छोटा नंबर कौन सा है. ये नंबर अपना 400 है, ये 81 into 4 है, 324 है, तो इसका मतलब दिस इज a smaller number and 16 into 9 ये तो 144. तो मैं दिस प्लस दिस कर दूंगा, मेरा आंसर आ जाएगा. अंडरस्टूड? ये वाला क्वेश्चन तभी आपको करना चाहिए जब आपको रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन आता है. इफ यू नो रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन, दैट इज अ राउंड 1 क्वेश्चन. इफ यू डोंट नो व्हाट इज रिवर्स फैक्टराइजेशन, इट इज अ राउंड 3 क्वेश्चन. स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड. गॉट इट? हाँ या ना? नाउ दिस वन. नाउ आई थिंक, in my opinion, when I was solving this question, I felt that this is one of the easiest questions. Why easiest? Why easiest? क्योंकि इसमें मुझे कुछ करना ही नहीं है. क्यों नहीं करना है? I'm just going to plug in the value of n. So मुझे बस n की वैल्यू प्लग इन करना है और मुझे फिगर आउट करना है कि the least value integer value of n for each such value of n. ठीक है, मुझे बस इतना फिगर आउट करना है. मैं इसको पहले फिगर आउट करता हूँ. ठीक है, अगर मैं यहां पे ये बोल दूं कि n की वैल्यू 1 है तो ये हो गया 1 लेस देन 3 स्क्वायर. ठीक है, n की वैल्यू 1 डाल, ट्रू है. ठीक है, देन n की वैल्यू 2 डाल दी, तो 2 डाल दी, दिस इज 5 स्क्वायर, दिस इज 3 क्यूब. सॉरी दिस इज 5 पावर 1, दिस इज 3 क्यूब, अगेन ट्रू है। n की वैल्यू 3 डाल दी, 3 डाल दी तो ये क्या हो गया 5 स्क्वायर, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 3 पावर 4, अगेन ट्रू है। दिस इज 5 पावर 3 125, दिस इज 3 पावर 5, अगेन ट्रू है। 5 पावर 4 3 पावर 6, this is 625, this is 729, again true है। Now this is going to be 5 power 5 and it is going to be 3 power 7, ये 2100 कुछ होगा, ये 2500 कुछ होगा, इसका मतलब n की जो लार्जेस्ट पॉसिबल वैल्यू है वो 4 है, ये 3 पावर 5 है and that is less than 2 power 4 plus m, जस्ट वैल्यू पुट करते जा रहे हैं। अब n की वैल्यू कम से कम क्या होनी चाहिए, 3 पावर 5 क्या होता है 243, इसका मतलब यहाँ पे 2 पावर 8 होना चाहिए, तो m की वैल्यू 4 होनी चाहिए, यहां से सीधे सीधे अपना आंसर आ जाएगा। सो व्हाई आई एम कंसीडरिंग दिस क्वेश्चन एज द इजीएस्ट क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि नंबर में इस क्वेश्चन में कंसेप्ट नहीं है, वैल्यू डालो करते जाओ, वैल्यू डालो 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 एंड यू विल गेट द आंसर। So for me, this question is definitely going to be a round one question. But remember, when we are solving this paper, in this paper, every question you are going to see, even round one questions are going to take on an average 2 to 3 minutes. Generally, round one questions you can finish in less than a minute. लेकिन ये ऐसा पेपर है जहां पे हर क्वेश्चन, even round one questions are going to take some time. Clear? Okay, now this one. क्या सीन है इस क्वेश्चन का? When if I am going to write this question, what I am going to do, I am directly going to say, okay, this is going to be round two question. क्यों round two question? Because look at the options. The options are pretty bad. So मैं कुछ करूंगा, मुझे क्वाड्रेटिक बनानी पड़ेगी, क्वाड्रेटिक का के सोल्यूशन लाने पड़ेंगे, तो ये क्वेश्चन ऑप्शन देख के समझ में आ रहा है कि मैं ऑप्शन से मुझे कोई भी हेल्प नहीं है। आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन इन द एग्जाम ऑन टाइम। सो जब सारे हो जाएंगे देन आई विल कम बैक टू दिस क्वेश्चन। नाउ लेट्स लुक एट दिस वन। नाउ व्हाट डू यू थिंक, शुड दिस क्वेश्चन बी डन और नॉट? क्या ये क्वेश्चन किया जाना चाहिए या नहीं किया जाना चाहिए? ये क्वेश्चन का क्या सीन है? और क्या ये क्वेश्चन हम मैनुअली सॉल्व कर सकते हैं? देखो ये जो क्वेश्चन है, why how this question can be solved, the total number of people in the town are 1 लाख, ठीक है, उसके बाद y% से डिक्रीज हुए तो कुछ वैल्यू आई, फिर x% से इंक्रीज हुए कुछ वैल्यू आई, और ये वाली वैल्यू इस वाली वैल्यू से ज्यादा है। एंड क्वेश्चन इज सेइंग द डिफरेंस बिटवीन x प्लस वाई इज 10, इसका मतलब x जो होगा वो y से बड़ा होना चाहिए। कितना बड़ा होना चाहिए? 10%। So this value should be x plus 10. ठीक है। Now if I am trying to solve this question and get the answer, what I am going to do over here कि I am going to use calculator and solve it. कैसे? I am going to go with some option, that is I would say that I am going to go with 74,000. So 74,000 का मतलब मैंने कितना डिक्रीज किया? मैंने डिक्रीज किया 26% से। अब यहां पे कितना इंक्रीज कर रहा हूं मैं? 36% इंक्रीज कर रहा हूं। सो 74,000 पे 36% अगर मैं इंक्रीज करूंगा तो मुझे वैल्यू क्या मिलेगी? ये मेरा क्वेश्चन है और ये मुझे निकालना। तो 74,000 पे अगर मैं 36 इंक्रीज करूंगा तो मेरा कुछ 26,000 के आसपास, 26,000 से थोड़ा ज्यादा इंक्रीमेंट मिलेगा। और ये जल्दी निकालने का तरीका ये है कि कैलकुलेटर यूज कर लो। तो ये जो पॉपुलेशन है ये 1 लाख से ज्यादा हो जाएगी, मतलब 74,000 इज वर्किंग फाइन फॉर। अब यहां से अगर मैं 73,000, तो अगर 74,000 पे सेटिस्फाई कर रहे हैं तो 75 पे भी करेगा। सो व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू डू, आई एम गोइंग टू चेक विद 73,000। तो यहां पे कितने का डिक्रीमेंट हुआ, 27% का डिक्रीमेंट हुआ। तो अब 73,000 पे मुझे कितने परसेंट का इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा? सो 73,000 पे मुझे इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा 37% का। So whatever question is saying, I am just doing same thing with the option. Again, I am going to get increment of 27,000 something, very close value. So again population 1 लाख से ज्यादा हो गई, मतलब 73,000 पे भी सेटिस्फाई कर रहा है। 72,000 पे क्या होगा? तो 72,000 का मतलब 28% डिक्रीमेंट। तो इंक्रीज कितना होना चाहिए? 38% का इंक्रीज होना चाहिए। 38% का इंक्रीज किस पे? 72। तो अगर हम इस क्वेश्चन को सॉल्व करने के लिए कैलकुलेटर यूज कर रहे हैं तो ये क्वेश्चन आसानी से हो रहा है। और यहां पे जो इंक्रीज है दैट इज 27,000 समथिंग का। सो पॉपुलेशन इज गोइंग टू बी 99,000 समथिंग। ये होना पॉसिबल नहीं है। सो द लोएस्ट पॉपुलेशन आई कैन हैव इज गोइंग टू बी 73,000। आई होप इट मेक्स सेंस कि इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन को करने का अप्रोच क्या है। आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू गो विद वेरिएबल्स बिकॉज व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू मेक द equations are going to look very ugly. They are not going to look very fine over here. So if you are going to go by options, this question can be solved in 2 minutes. Just आपको values check करनी है। Remember, in these kind of questions, calculator is must. Understood? क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, कैलकुलेटर यूज करना है या नहीं करना है, और कैलकुलेटर का भरपूर यूज करना चाहिए एग्जाम। नाउ दिस वन, Rahul, Rakshita, and Gurmeet working together would have taken more than 7 days to finish a job. On the other hand, Rahul and Gurmeet working together would have taken less than 15 days to finish the job. और वो सारे लोग 6 दिन में काम खत्म कर लेते हैं, फॉलोड बाय रक्षिका हु वर्क फॉर 3 more days to finish the job. ठीक है, if Rakshita had worked alone on the job, then the number of days would have taken the job cannot be. अच्छा, तो अब इस क्वेश्चन को क्या करेंगे? क्या ये राउंड 1 क्वेश्चन होगा, राउंड 2 क्वेश्चन होगा, राउंड 3 क्वेश्चन होगा? ये क्वेश्चन का क्या करेंगे? I am going to mark this question. If you understood, it's fine. If you don't understand, I am going to mark this question either round 2 or round 3. बाद में देखा जाएगा जब टाइम बचेगा, अभी के लिए नहीं। अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। There are 3 people A, B and C in the room. If a person D joins the room, the average weight of the persons in the room reduces by X kg. Instead of B, a person E joins the room. That the average weight of the persons in the room increases by 2x. ठीक है, the weight of E is 12 more than D. What is the value of X? Now क्या करना चाहिए इसमें? राउंड 1 करना चाहिए, राउंड 2 करना चाहिए, तुरंत करना चाहिए? बिकॉज इफ यू आर गोइंग टू सी अटेम्प्ट्स आर हाई, एक्यूरेसी इज आल्सो वेरी हाई, एंड एवरेज इज अ टॉपिक वेयर एवरीवन इज कंफर्टेबल, बट you need to decide whether it is going to be round 1, round 2 in one read. राउंड 1 कैसे करेंगे? राउंड 1 में अच्छा, अगर इस क्वेश्चन को जल्दी करना है तो क्या करेंगे? देर आर ऑलरेडी 3 पीपल ए बी सी, ठीक है, डी जॉइंस, फिर ई जॉइंस, अब देखो, अगर ये क्वेश्चन को करना है, जल्दी करना है तो कैसे करेंगे? ठीक है, इसमें हमें केवल x की वैल्यू पूछी है, और x क्या है? x एवरेज भी नहीं है, x रिडक्शन और इंक्रीमेंट, राइट? सो बेसिकली मैं क्या कर रहा हूं, मैं मान रहा हूं a का वेट है 10, b का वेट है 10, c का वेट है 10, d का वेट है 0, ठीक है। तो इनिशियल एवरेज क्या था? 10। अब क्या हुआ? या फिर एक काम करते हैं, इसका है a, इसका भी है a, इसका भी है a, इसका है 0, इनिशियल वेट है 10, ठीक है। डिड आई क्या मैं कुछ गलती कर रहा हूं यहाँ पे? ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं। तो इनिशियल एवरेज क्या था? इनिशियल एवरेज था ए, बाद में एवरेज क्या हो गया? 3a/4, ठीक है। ई का वेट क्या है? 12। ई का वेट क्या है? सो आई थिंक आई नीड टू गो बैक टू द प्रीवियस अप्रोच इटसेल्फ। तो ठीक है, नो नो नो, आई गो बाय दिस अप्रोच ओनली, कि ए है, इसका वेट 0 है, इसका वेट 12 है, ठीक है। डी और ई के वेट में 12 का डिफरेंस है, तो यहाँ पे इनिशियल एवरेज क्या था? ए। जब डी आया तो एवरेज क्या हुआ? डी आया तो एवरेज हो गया 3a/4, ठीक है। एवरेज में डिक्रीमेंट कितने का आया? a/4 का। जब ई भी आ गया तो एवरेज 2a/4 से इंक्रीज हो गया, मतलब 5a/4 हो गया, ठीक है, क्योंकि एवरेज वाज 2x, ठीक है। अब व्हाट इज द फाइनल एवरेज? फाइनल एवरेज इज इक्वल टू 3a प्लस 12/5, और हमारा जो आंसर है वो क्या है? a/4। हमें बस इतना निकालना है, और ये करके हमारी डायरेक्ट वैल्यू आ जाएगी, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 25a, सॉरी इट शुड बी 25a इज इक्वल टू 12a, 4×3=12, एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू 48। कुछ गलती करी क्या यहाँ पे? 3a प्लस 12, आई थिंक कहीं तो गलती कर दी है मैंने। अरे आई मेड अ मिस्टेक इन अ सिंपल क्वेश्चन, अरे यार एग्जाम का प्रेशर, ठीक है। दैट शुड बी के मतलब तीनों का वेट ए था, इनिशियल वेट था, उसको क्या करें, कुछ और माने क्या? 3a/4, oh shit, I made a mistake over here in this question, it shouldn't have happened. So okay, so अगर इजी क्वेश्चन है, so अगर अगर यहाँ पे जुगाड़ फिट नहीं हो रहा, जुगाड़ फिट तो होना चाहिए इसका। So basically ABC, there are 3 people and their total weight is weight is, let's say, M, or let's say T. D joint, so let's say the weight of D is A, and E joint, the weight of E is what? A plus 12. So now what is the initial weight? That is T/3. And when D joined, what is the average weight? That is equal to T plus A divided by 4. That is the first equation we are getting. Now, when E is the... Oh, shit. The approach that I have taken was right, but the problem is I assumed I made a mistake over here. And what was the mistake that I had? So जल्दी पढ़ने से वही गलती हो जाती है कि मैंने तीनों का मान लिया ए, सॉरी, इसका वेट है ए, इसका वेट है ए, इसका वेट है ए, एंड डी का वेट है 0. Now initial average was a, final average has become what? That is equal to 3a/4. Now now D is not joining. Either D joins or E joins. E का weight है A. Now what is the average weight? That is going to be 3a plus 12/4. Now this decrement is A upon 4. This increment is equal to 2A upon 4. And this is x and this is 2x. So बस यहाँ पे हमको उसके बराबर डालना है. So basically that is equal to A से 2A upon 4 हो गया, मतलब 6A upon 4 is this, and we can directly figure this out. That is going to be 3A is equal to 12. So A comes out to be 4. So x, what I was looking for, A by 4, that is going to be 1. Answer is going to be 1. Did you understand or did you not? I think I solved this question for myself. My question is, did you understand? Did you not? I will explain again. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now this one. A merchant purchases a cloth at a rate of 100 per meter and receive 5 centimeter length of cloth free for every 100 centimeter cloth purchased by him. He sells the same cloth at a rate of 110 per meter but cheats the customer by 95 centimeter length. If the merchant provides 5% discount, the resultant profit earned by him is. So basically, ये जो फॉल्टी वेट का क्वेश्चन है, तो फॉल्टी वेट के क्वेश्चंस का एक बड़ा सिंपल सा और डायरेक्ट अप्रोच होता है. अच्छा ठीक है, शिवम, आई विल एक्सप्लेन अगेन. सो बेसिकली व्हाट इज हैपनिंग ओवर हियर, मैं क्या कर रहा हूं यहाँ पे कि ए बी सी 3 लोग हैं, ठीक है, कि यहाँ पे एक बंदा है ए, एक बंदा है बी, एक बंदा है सी. इन तीनों का एवरेज वेट कुछ है, ठीक है, और पूरे स्टेटमेंट में एबीसी के इंडिविजुअली कहीं बात नहीं हो रही, तो मैं तीनों का वेट सेम मान लेता हूं. डजंट मेक अ डिफरेंस. अंडरस्टूड? तो इन 3 लोगों का जो एवरेज है वो मेरा ए हो गया. अंडरस्टूड? यहां तक शिवम, मैग्नेट, आर वी क्लियर ऑन दिस? अब जो आया, अब वो कह रहा है कि डी ने ज्वाइन कर लिया. अब डी ने ज्वाइन कर लिया तो एवरेज वेट रिड्यूस हो गया एक्स से. सो मैंने ये मान लिया डी का वेट है 0. तो 4 लोगों का टोटल वेट 3a है और अपना एवरेज वेट हो गया 3a अपॉन 4. ठीक है, तो एवरेज वेट में कितने का डिक्रीमेंट आया? एवरेज वेट हैज बिकम डिक्रीज्ड बाय a by 4 and that is equal to x. अंडरस्टूड? अगर डी की जगह ई ज्वाइन करता और ई का जो वेट है 12 है, अगर डी की जगह ई ज्वाइन करता तो जो ई का वेट होता वो 12 होता. इनिशियल वेट तो अभी भी ए होता और जो फाइनल वेट होता वो 2x से बढ़ चुका होता. 2x से बढ़ने का मतलब 2a by 4 से बढ़ चुका होता, मतलब 6a upon 4 हो चुका होता. एग्रीड? एंड दैट इज इक्वल टू व्हाट? एवरेज वेट, दैट इज 3a plus 12 divide by 4. So 6a is equal to 3a plus 12. So 3a comes out to be 12 and a comes out to be 4. And what is the value of x? That is a by 4 and that is equal to 1. समझ में आ गया? Yes, no? ओके, अब क्लियर है ना? अब ये वाला क्वेश्चन करते हैं. ये वाले जो क्वेश्चन होते हैं ना, ये बड़े प्यारे क्वेश्चन होते हैं. ये देखने में लगता है कि डिफिकल्ट है, लेकिन आप फॉल्टी वेट में इफ यू नो द कंसेप्ट ऑफ एसपी अपॉन सीपी, सारे क्वेश्चन आसान है. आप अपने आप को हमेशा शॉपकीपर की जगह पर रखिए. कहां पे? शॉपकीपर की जगह पे. ठीक है, और उसको, और जो आपकी जेब से जा रहा है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी इन द डिनोमिनेटर, जो आपको मिल रहा है दैट इज गोइंग टू बी इन द न्यूमरेटर, एंड कीप एवरी इंस्टेंस सेम. सो बेसिकली एक मर्चेंट है, वो कपड़ा खरीद रहा है, ठीक है, जो भी है, जो भी प्राइस है, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. 5 सेंटीमीटर लेंथ का फ्री मिल रहा है. कितने पे? 100 सेंटीमीटर पे। इसका मतलब उसकी जेब से जा रहा है 100 सेंटीमीटर का कॉस्ट और बदले में उसको मिल रहा है 105। सो 105 अपॉन 100, अंडरस्टूड। अब वो क्लॉथ को 110 पे बेच रहा है, मतलब उसने अपनी जेब से पे किया 100 रुपए और बदले में उसको मिला 110 रुपए। क्लियर। अब वो क्या कर रहा है, वो चीट कर रहा है कस्टमर को। किससे कर रहा है? 95%, मतलब वो अपनी जेब से दे रहा है 95 और उसको मिल रहा है 100। ठीक है। अब जो मर्चेंट है वो क्या कर रहा है, वो ये कर रहा है कि भैया कह रहा है कि मैं डिस्काउंट भी दे रहा हूं, तो उसकी जेब से जो 100 रुपए का सामान था उस पे वो 5% कम करके दे रहा है, मतलब 95 पे दे रहा है। इसका मतलब यहां से सीधे सब कट गया, अपना क्या बचा, सॉरी 10। तो अगर इसको सॉल्व करेंगे तो हमें क्या मिलेगा, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 100। सो बेसिकली इसको 1.1 कर देते हैं, 0 हटा के। सो 115.5 अपॉन 100, मतलब कॉस्ट प्राइस है 100, सेलिंग प्राइस है 115.5, मतलब प्रॉफिट परसेंट है 15.5। समझ में आई ये बात? सो एसपी अपॉन सीपी का अगर कंसेप्ट आपको पता है, देन दिस क्वेश्चन कैन इजिली बी सॉल्व्ड इन 1.5-2 मिनट्स, इससे ज्यादा नहीं है। एसपी अपॉन सीपी का स्टैंडर्ड कंसेप्ट है, ऑन स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है, स्टैंडर्ड सॉल्यूशन है। बट फॉर दिस यू नीड टू नो द कंसेप्ट ऑफ फॉल्टी वेट्स। क्लियर? And I would say that is again going to be a round one question. तो कम से कम अभी तक out of 12 we have at least 5 to 6 questions that are round one question. So in, I would say, at most 20 minutes you are done by 6 questions. Yes or no? ये सब क्लियर है ना अभी तक जो किया? Anil mixes cocoa with sugar in 3:2 ratio to prepare mixture A, and coffee with sugar in ratio of 7:3 to prepare mixture B. He combines mixture A and B in the ratio of 2:3. ठीक है। The percentage of sugar, again that is, I would say, that is a very standard, very easy question. कि यहाँ पे क्या है, कोकोआ है, शुगर है, रेशियो है 3:2, या ये है अपना मिक्सचर ए। ठीक है। ठीक है। एंड कॉफी विद शुगर इन द रेशियो, ठीक है, कोको और कॉफी अलग अलग हैं क्या? ठीक है। अब ठीक है, अलग अलग होगा, यहाँ पे कोकोआ लिख देते हैं, यहाँ पे बी ले लेते हैं। मिक्सर ए एंड कॉफी विद शुगर, सो कॉफी यहाँ पे क्या हो गया, जो भी हो गया, एंड दैट इज कॉफी 7, शुगर इज 3। ठीक है। अब यहाँ पे क्या है, यहाँ पे इसका वेट है 5, इसका वेट है 10, और क्वेश्चन ये बोल रहा है ए और बी को 2:3 में मिक्स कर रहा है, तो मैं इसका वेट 20 कर देता हूं और इसका वेट 30 कर देता हूं। ठीक है। सो 20 का मतलब मल्टीप्लाइड बाई 4, दिस इज 12, दिस इज 8। 30 का मतलब मल्टीप्लाइड बाई 3, दिस इज 21, दिस इज 9। अप्रोच समझ में आई कि नहीं आई? अभी मेरे पास शुगर कितनी हो गई, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 8 + 9, दैट इज 17, और टोटल मिक्सचर का वेट क्या हो गया, 20 + 30, दैट इज 50। तो उसके पास जो शुगर है वो 17 है और टोटल ए प्लस बी का मिक्सचर है वो है 50। अब क्वेश्चन ये कह रहा है कि उसमें इक्वल क्वांटिटी ऑफ मिल्क और मिला दिया, मतलब मिल्क मिलाया उसने 50। So total weight कितना हो गया, 100, and out of 100 what is sugar, 17. So what is the percentage of sugar, that is also 17. So again, very standard question of ratio or mixtures. I am not going to use some concept of alligation or those. Straightforward linear approach आराम से हो जाएगा. And that's the reason, if you look at this, attempts are high as well as accuracy is very high in this question. Again, it is a round one question. So basically, even the most difficult CAT paper also had some easy and doable questions. This one, accuracy is 4%. Now, more likely, I'm not sure I'll be able to do it, but let's see. A fruit seller has a stock of mangoes, banana, apples with at least one fruit of each type. एट द बिगिनिंग ऑफ द डे, क्या करेंगे? इसको करना है या नहीं करना है? ये राउंड 1 होगा, राउंड 2 होगा, राउंड 3 होगा। क्या होगा जल्दी बताओ। Round Magnet is saying round 3. Anyone else is saying something else? अच्छा एक बात बताओ. So read it slowly, read it twice and figure out. For me, it is going to be round Shiva, more likely for me it is going to be round 3. जब मैं सब कर लूंगा तब इस क्वेश्चन पे आऊंगा. ये वो क्वेश्चन नहीं है जहां पे मैक्सिमम मिनिमम है, वेरिएबल्स है, टू मेनी थिंग्स टू डू. 3 variables we are dealing with, and in 3 variables we are also dealing with maximum and minima. तो नहीं, मैं तो नहीं करूंगा. Now let's look at this one. Gautam and Suhani working together can finish a job in 20 days. Gautam does only 60% of usual work a day. Suhani must do 150% of the usual work. The number of days. ठीक है. Should we do it? Should we not? Now it is a round 1 question, round 2 question. जल्दी बताओ. TSD का स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चन है. I would go with round 1. बीच में कहीं अटक जाएंगे तो छोड़ देंगे. Gautam does only 60%. 60% is 3 by 5. So I am going to assume the efficiency of Gautam is 5A, and 150% का मतलब 3 by 2. I am going to assume the efficiency of Suhani as 2B. ठीक है. गौतम एक दिन में 5A काम करता है और सुहानी एक दिन में 2B काम करती है, तो टोटल वर्क जो हो गया वो कितना हो गया? या फिर एक काम करते हैं, गौतम की एफिशिएंसी को 5 ही मान लेते हैं, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. सो गौतम की एफिशिएंसी है 5, सुहानी की एफिशिएंसी है 2B, एंड टोटल वर्क इज इक्वल टू 20. सो टोटल वर्क कम्स आउट टू बी 100 प्लस 40B. ठीक है. उसके बाद गौतम 30% ऑफ यूजुअल वर्क करता है. ठीक है. सो 30% का मतलब गौतम काम करता है 3, सुहानी कितना काम करती है? 350% ऑफ द वर्क. सो इसका मतलब 3 भी काम करती है रोज. वर्क अगेन 20 डेज में खत्म हो जाता है. दैट इज इक्वल टू 60 प्लस 60B. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट टोटल वर्क, बोथ वैल्यू शुड बी इक्वल. सो इसका मतलब 40 इक्वल टू 20B, and B comes out to be what? B comes out to be 2. इसका मतलब सुहानी की जो एफिशिएंसी हो जाएगी वो हो जाएगी 4, गौतम की एफिशिएंसी हमने मानी है 5. फास्टर वन को क्वेश्चन ये पूछा है फास्टर वन कितने दिन में काम करेगा, तो फास्टर वन तो गौतम है. टोटल वर्क हो गया 40 into 2 plus 100, that is 180, and 180 divided by 5, and that is going to be 36. So 36 days में फास्टर वन काम करेगा. अंडरस्टूड? सो इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन में हमेशा वर्क अज्यूम नहीं करना चाहिए. लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स you can solve a question faster if you are just going to assume the efficiency of a person. Got it? This one. जल्दी बताओ. राउंड 1, राउंड 2, राउंड 3. I would go by round 3. And why I am saying this question is round 3? Because A and B का रेशियो 3:4 है. Total number of coins collected by A in 5 weeks is a multiple of 5 है. So basically we are, first of all, it is going to be 3x and 4x. Then it is going to be multiple of 7. We are talking about 7y. Total number of this is a multiple of 24. Then again it is going to be 24z. Now I have to work with 3 variables in this question. So more likely I'm going to avoid it at this point of time. अगर so मेरे ख्याल से इसके बाद हमको टाइम मिलेगा नहीं, so I'm going to leave it. Now question number 17. What is it? A rectangle with the largest area, with the largest possible area drawn inside a semicircle of radius 2. Then the length, ratio of length of largest to the smallest side of rectangle is. ठीक है, एक rectangle है with the largest possible area drawn inside a semicircle of radius 2. ठीक है, semicircle of radius 2, इसके अंदर एक rectangle बनाया हुआ है, ये अपना 2 है, ठीक है, अब ये अपना 2 है, ठीक है, रेडियस है 2 है 2 है. अब हमको इसका और इसका रेशियो चाहिए, ठीक है. So basically what I can do, the option is largest side is √2:1, ठीक है. तो इसका मतलब ये 1/√2 और ये 1, क्या इस रेशियो में साइड हो सकती है 1:√2 and 2? ये तो साइड का रेशियो नहीं हो सकता, इसका मतलब पहला वाला तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं हो सकता, ठीक है. या फिर हो भी सकता है, देखेंगे 1/√2x and x, ठीक है. सेकेंड √5:1, ठीक है, क्या ये हो सकता है? ये भी हमको देखना पड़ेगा. 1:1 तो डेफिनेटली नहीं होगा, क्योंकि इन दैट केस इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ स्क्वायर एंड अगेन दिस साइड इज 1:1 का तो स्कोप ही नहीं है, 1:1 नहीं होगा, और 2:1. So basically if I am going to say this side is A, this side is B, or I would say this is also B, so मुझे चाहिए 2B:A का रेशियो, and this is what we are looking for. Okay. As well as I also know that B square plus A square is equal to what? 2 square, that is 4. ठीक है, और ये रेशियो चाहिए, और ये इक्वेशन गिवन है, और इसके अलावा हमारे पास कुछ और गिवन नहीं है. तो अब हमको यहां पे क्या करना चाहिए? और हमें एरिया को मैक्सिमाइज करना है. एरिया कैसे मैक्सिमाइज होगा? एरिया इज गोइंग टू बी 2AB. तो माई जॉब इज टू मैक्सिमाइज 2AB. तो अब मैं क्या करूंगा इसमें? इसके बाद किसी को समझ में आ रहा है क्या करना है? इसको मैक्सिमाइज करना है, ये गिवन है, और ये निकालना है. क्या कर सकते हैं? सो we can still solve it, but in the exam if you are stuck at these kind of things, just leave them immediately, because we are already sitting at question number 17. You don't have much time left, so make a quick decision and leave the question. Now this one, triangle ABC is an isosceles triangle such that AB and AC are of equal length. AD is altitude from A to BC. So again it is going to be क्या? आइसोसेलेस ट्रायंगल की बात कर रहा है, ए बी एंड सी, ठीक है. इनकी लेंथ इक्वल है. AD is a perpendicular, AD is perpendicular on BC and BE is altitude from B on AC, ठीक है. ये भी एक altitude है, ये भी altitude है, and AD and B intersect at O and AOB. This angle is 105. Then AD is to BE is equal to what? ठीक है, और ऑप्शन गिवन है this. सो क्या करें? राउंड 1, राउंड 2, राउंड 3. ज्योमेट्री में क्वेश्चन छोड़ने के पहले हमेशा फिगर ड्रॉ करना चाहिए. तो क्या कर सकते हैं इसमें? आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डू इट. आई एम गोइंग टू मार्क इट एज राउंड 3. Now this one, in a regular polygon, if the interior angle exceeds the exterior angle by 120 degree, what is the number of diagonals in that polygon? अब इसको करने का तरीका क्या है? क्या ये क्वेश्चन हम कर पाएंगे या नहीं कर पाएंगे? राउंड 1 में होगा, राउंड 2 में होगा. So always remember, in any regular polygon, internal angle plus external angle is equal to 180 degrees. And इस क्वेश्चन में बोला है internal angle minus external angle is equal to 120 degrees. So I would say I am going to add both of them. I am going to get 2 times internal angle, that is equal to 300. So internal angle comes out to be what? 150 degrees. So external angle comes out to be 30 degrees. And n into 30, summation of all external angles is always equal to 360 degrees. So number of sides comes out to be 12, and that's the answer. So if I'm not leaving those questions previously, it means I'm missing out on an extremely easy question like this in the exam. If you see, accuracy is very low in this question, but this question has not been difficult. हमेशा एक बात ध्यान रखिएगा, sum of all of the external angles is 360 degrees and summation of internal angle and external angle is 180 degrees. ये कंसेप्ट अगर आपको याद है तो ये 1 मिनट में होने वाला क्वेश्चन है. Got it? Now this one, this is a series 1 plus 1 by 3. So internally you are getting GP. So इसका जनरल टर्म निकाल के हमको वो करना है. सो जनरल टर्म क्या है? समेशन, राइट? सो जनरल टर्म निकाल के आपको यहां पे सिग्मा यूज करना पड़ेगा. एंड आई वुड से, सो बेसिकली इसको करने का अगर मैं एक तरीका सोचूंगा तो मैं क्या करूंगा? सबसे पहला काम है 1 by 4 by 3. This is 4 by 3 plus 1 by 4, that is going to be 1 by 3. So 1.33. तो मेरा सम 1.33 से बड़ा होना चाहिए, लेकिन मैं यहां पे ये भी कह सकता हूं मेरा सम 2 से छोटा होना चाहिए. ठीक है, 1.33 से बड़ा होना चाहिए मतलब फोर्थ ऑप्शन तो नहीं हो सकता. ये मेरे पास क्लैरिटी है. ठीक है, 2 से बड़ा नहीं हो सकता मतलब ये भी नहीं हो सकता. ठीक है, आगे क्या कह रहा है? दिस इज गोइंग टू बी 1 by 16. अब ये कितना है? 1. This is less than 2. So I would say this number is less than 1.8. So 1.8 is 0.0125. 1.34. इसका मतलब मेरा जो आंसर होगा वो 1.3, 1.4 से ऊपर नहीं हो सकता. And in that case, the only possible option is going to be option 2. Whenever you are going to get this kind of series, always calculate the sum of first term, second term, third term, and that is going to give you a view that what is going to be overall sum. Clear? सो इस टाइप के जो क्वेश्चन होते हैं वो कभी भी पूरे सीरीज के हिसाब से सॉल्व नहीं करने चाहिए. केवल पहले, दूसरे, तीसरे टर्म का सम निकाल लीजिए, आपको हमेशा आइडिया लग जाएगा कि आंसर कैसे आना है. नाउ अगेन दीज काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस ऐसा लोगों को लगता है कि एग्जाम में नहीं आएंगे या नहीं आते हैं. हर 2-3 साल में आपको इस टाइप का एक सीरीज का क्वेश्चन दिख जाता है जहां पे यू कैन डायरेक्टली एलिमिनेट द ऑप्शंस जस्ट बाय एडिंग फर्स्ट 3 numbers. AN is equal to 46 plus 8n, BN is equal to 98 plus 4n, B2 sequences for natural numbers n less than 100, then what is the sum of all common terms? Now at this point of time, सबसे पहला तो ये कि कॉमन टर्म निकालना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. ठीक है, कॉमन टर्म का सम निकालना भी बड़ी बात नहीं है. लेकिन क्या आपको ये क्वेश्चन देखिए, अगर मैं यहाँ पे इसको स्टैंडर्डली डिफाइन करूं तो दैट इज 46. सो फर्स्ट टर्म इज 46 and then n is equal to 1. So you have a series with common difference of 8. You have a common series, second series that has a common difference of 4. ठीक है, so अगर मैं यहाँ पे ये बोल दूं कि 98 plus 4n and that is equal to 46 plus 8n. ठीक है, अब यहां पे n की जगह m भी कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, क्योंकि कौन सा टर्म किसके बराबर होगा नहीं पता. एंड वी कैन एक्चुअली कैलकुलेट इट. एंड हाउ? First series goes like 46, 54, 62, 70 and so on. तो आपको बस पहला कॉमन टर्म निकालना है और उसके बाद सेकेंड सीरीज का जो कॉमन टर्म है 8, कॉमन डिफरेंस है 8 और अगली सीरीज का कॉमन डिफरेंस है 4 एंड अकॉर्डिंगली इसको सॉल्व करना है. बट इन द एग्जाम एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम व्हेन यू आर ऑलरेडी 20 क्वेश्चन डाउन, this is not a question that is advisable because this is a question where you are going to make a lot of mistakes. ठीक है. Now this one again I would say it is a question of function. It is question number 22. Again it is not an advisable question. तो अभी तक आपके पास जो round 2 के question थे आप उनको जाके solve करिए and that's it. And this is how we are going to approach the paper. How many questions we have solved? This question, एक question, दो question, 3 क्वेश्चन, 4 क्वेश्चन, 5 क्वेश्चन, 6 क्वेश्चन, 7 क्वेश्चन, 8 क्वेश्चन, I would go with it 9 questions, this is 10 questions, this is 11 questions and this is 12 questions and we have solved 12 questions so far and let me see where does it keep us. So 12 क्वेश्चंस पे हम कहाँ खड़े हैं? 12 क्वेश्चंस का मतलब 36 मार्क्स. 36 मार्क्स कहाँ पे हमको लेके जा रहा है? 36 marks here and it is definitely above 99.5%. हाँ कहाँ गया? ये 36 marks is definitely 99.5 percentile above. I hope you learned something. So if you want to ask me anything that what to do, what not to do, how to do, just I would be happy to respond. So remember, what is the thing that you are doing? How you are doing, how you are picking up, how you are leaving. That is the important part. Last के जो 2 क्वेश्चन थे, I won't say they were very difficult, लेकिन more likely मैं नहीं करूंगा because after solving 20 questions, no one has energy left to solve those kind of questions. So I completely say कि even if I know how to solve it, I would like to leave it. So अभी किसी को कुछ पूछना है तो वो बता सकते हैं. And I'll tell you what to do, what not to do in the exam. So how to go for 99 percentile, what to approve, what is the approach? So read the question, read the option. That is the first step. Determining round 1 है, round 2 है, round 3 है, that is the second step. Apart from that, more or less that's it. That is the only strategy that I follow. Just a little bit shortcuts. Shortcut क्या है? Logical conclusions है, logical deduction है कि सीरीज के क्वेश्चन को कैसे डिड्यूस करें, बाकी क्वेश्चंस को कैसे डिड्यूस करें, क्वाड्रेटिक बनानी है या नहीं बनानी है. सो देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, जैसे इनफाइनाइट सॉल्यूशन वाला क्वेश्चन था दैट पीपल वुड हैव लेफ्ट, आई वुड हैव डन, क्योंकि क्वेश्चन स्टार्टिंग में देखने में बड़ा खराब लग रहा था लेकिन इट वाज नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट. ठीक है. एनीथिंग एल्स यू वांट टू आस्क? ओके शिवम. ठीक है. And this is already your Headstart Race to 99, and in the month of August we are actually going to start Race to 99 again. And test series is live. If you haven't joined the test series, just go and join the test series, and it is the closest thing to the actual exam. And with this, thank you.